For game number one. P1 banning away Rise. To start things off, they will be on the blue side for this first exchange. Rengo ban from TSM. I'm expecting Camille and LeBlanc to follow, but we'll see what happens here for Phoenix1. Blue side really is the side that gets to pick some more targeted bans. Maokai, a pretty good example of a strong champion that P1 decide to take away here.
Yeah, it's quite interesting. So trying to get rid of the TSM here. TSM ran 2 trees yesterday with the Ivern in the jungle and the Maokai in the top lane. So yeah, you expect them to ban away those 3, but LeBlanc would be the one that you would want to leave up if you have a counter for it, and you also think that Ryu isn't all the way up there in that tier list.
Pretty bold perhaps, but TSM will be the bans here from Phoenix1, taking both the Maokai and Ivern is actually the last ban there. TSM maybe mulling over this last ban. Like you said, they could leave it open, but instead decide that it's just safer to ban it away. So LeBlanc taken there. What's left open for P1's first pick? Junglers immediately leaping out.
Kha'Zix, Varus, the 2 that you would think is first pick worthy here. The hover of the Gangplank. Gangplank is also the champion that Zig played in Game 3 against TSM, and he had a fantastic showing there, showing, you know, Hansur, he can take him down in the top lane with that.
It's one of those things where Zig is such a stable, consistent player. You don't really associate him with carry champions, but it's not like he's incapable of doing it. Almost every top laner has at least a couple of picks that they can bring out and shine on. But first pick Kha'Zix here makes sense here for Inori, but actually Jace over to Haunter, speaking of those more carry-oriented top laners.
Yeah, carry-oriented for him in that top lane. The Jace, interesting because they usually run a tank top. This means that Svenskeren, if he is going to lock in the Graves, be unusual. Thank you. I expect him to go for something like the Jhin or the Varus. It's the Jhin that he locks in. Actually,
Varus dropping through here. That's been considered sort of the first pick AD carry now that the lethality changes have moved through. And even last week before those changes, Varus and Jhin were kind of getting a nod over Ashe.
That's true. But you got to think about the supports that are also left up. Because of Phoenix1's ban, Zyra on the table, Malzahar also on the table. Both great synergy alongside the Jhin. And the Corki picked up here, so picking a very stable mid laner. Bjergsen gives him an opportunity to possibly play an assassin or go with something like a Cassiopeia into it.
I like that because it does feel like, you know, Rise LeBlanc, they're the obvious strong mid laners that often get banned away. Corki, to me, feels like one of the best and also one of the safest blind picks, but I agree that he does open up space for the enemy mid laner. Varus going to be picked here for Arrow. That's no surprise at all to TSM. Arrow's taken it almost every opportunity. Curious to see Turtle take Jhin instead of it. But it's kind of curious to see what TSM want to do with this final pick here, because they might want to pick a jungler. That Rek'Sai is kind of the obvious one, but support's also available. So TSM kind of in a funny spot here.
Yeah, if you don't pick your jungler here, you drop down and may have to play something that doesn't synergize well with the team composition. So the Rek'Sai, like you said, one of the tanks that's left.
I think I have to.
Because you have the carry top laner. That's the thing. When you have the carry top laner, you typically want to have the Rek'Sai alongside it or a tank with Ivern. But Jace, we have seen flex to the mid lane even just yesterday.
I mean, that's the other thing. If they don't pick Rek'Sai, maybe they're saying, okay, we can take Lee if he drops through the draft. So I think this pick does signal that it's very likely to be a carry top laner, win the Jace there for Haunter. But we'll see what happens in the next phase of picks as we are into ban phase number 2. Tahm Kench actually banned by TSM, which has been picking up some popularity. There's a Syndra ban from Phoenix1, so it looks like Bjergsen not taking his mid laner early. Going to cost him a couple bans here, as Phoenix1 are going to try and target out champions that will be good into Ryu, but Bjergsen should have plenty left open as Misfortune actually banned away, maybe signaling that Zyra pick that you mentioned, or even the Malzahar pick as well.
Yeah, that's the thing, is now as Phoenix1, I don't think you actually ban Malzahar or Zyra unless you really consider one of those a much bigger threat than the others, because the Jhin synergizing with the Malzahar is just as scary. If you want one for yourself, or they could ban one if they're comfortable playing the Nami alongside the Varus like before. And that's really interesting that they ban away the Gangplank, because the top lane is what you would suppose is already locked in here, and it would be an all physical damage composition if they did go with the Gangplank for TSM.
I mean, kind of interesting, maybe expecting a switch, as there's the Zyra pickup for TSM, so deciding that they want what they think is the better of the 2 supports.
Yep.
I think that generally follows conventional logic. Zyra's been so strong.
Zyra is so strong, and even into Malzahar, she is considered quite strong as well. So it doesn't matter if you pick it up, that the enemy team would be able to pick the Zyra into it, but that's what I would assume is the Nami, which Adrian has been loving. He's been playing it alongside the Varus and just considering a great disengaged champion, as well as somebody who can sustain you for the lane.
Adrian having some fun, flashes a Thresh. We'll see what they want to do with their last pick here. It seems like top lane is missing, and they have a decent idea of what's happening. One of the nice features of this draft from TSM is they are technically hiding their last solo lane pick here, so Phoenix1 don't have complete information. They have a very good idea that Jace is probably top lane, but they'll take Shang, which again, another very safe tank, particularly with Maokai banned away. Teams are trending more towards Shen than something like the Nautilus.
It's so interesting because Zig has honestly been a little bit of an innovator who's been overlooked, because every time there's something that was being played in another region, or even before sometimes, he is saying, you know, that's already a good champion. When I have conversations with him, he's like, yeah, Shen is really good. I don't know why people are playing it. You think back to last split, he was the first North American top laner to play Gnar when Europe was playing it. And then people didn't get on that train until near the end of the split. So it's really interesting. We'll see what he does here in the top lane, but I know that this matchup, Shen takes a beating. Eventually, though, the W helps out against the Jace a ton.
Yeah, well, last pick Cassiopeia for Bjergsen, so a pretty standard mid lane matchup to exhaust by the looks of things, which makes sense given the consistent and all burst damage from both of these champions. So they should be comfortable there in that matchup. Ryu is not going to try and outplay with something like a cleanse, at least this time around. But I think the top lane matchup is one to talk about here. We're starting to see a lot of Jace specifically be the big top lane pick. And almost always, there's no other carry people want to play into it just yet, so they are taking more of these tanks.
Yep.
And again, that seems like an interesting trade-off, because you feel like as a team you'd want one or the other. But like you said, Jace favored early, but the tanks tend to scale more towards the mid to late game and give you teamfight ability where you get more split pushing ability with the Jace.
Yeah, Jace is kind of a stopper. When somebody picks Jace, the other team, if they play a top laner that's a carry as well, Jace has the range, starves out most top laners. Jace, just by picking the champion, has almost like a passive that's, hey, he will be about 30 CS up, come about 15 minutes. So if you pick a carry top laner that's gold reliant, Jace starves them a bit, delays when they come online. Tanks, doesn't matter, but they still take that beating.
Yep, certainly will. So we'll see how the early game works out here as Phoenix1 and TSM are gearing up for game number 1. Pretty standard stuff in the draft. I think a lot of what we expected here. Anori, though, definitely going to be eyes on him for the Kha'Zix. We'll see if Svenskeren can keep him down. In the top side, we're going to see if Zig can kind of take the expected beating from Hauntzer. Bottom lane's likely going to be a wash, or maybe Arrow and Adrian can get something done. But a matchup that we do want to look at, Bjergsen vs Ryu, feels very close. So that's my favorite thing about this going into game 1. Bjergsen and Ryu have champions they can both make plays on, both carry on, and both win lane on. So we're going to have eyes on them.
And you see, speaking of Bjergsen, he has the cleanse now, so the double exhaust coming through for P1 may not be as effective since it would remove the summoner spell and completely negate it. And Bjergsen also making sure he doesn't get caught by things like the Shen, as well as the Chain of Corruption from Arrow. And the bottom lane, as you were talking about, could be a little bit favored towards the AA combo of Arrow and Adrian. They have sustain, which is one of the weaknesses of Zyra because she's more pokey as opposed to an all-in. So they could have a bit of an advantage there if they're able to play it right. And yeah, Fervor Rek'Sai, we're seeing way more of that since the first Colossus nerfs. But that's a little unusual considering that he is the sole tank of the team.
Well, again, trying to get some stuff done early. Svenskeren loves to live in the enemy jungle as Ryu's going to cancel that recall. Nice ward. Svenskeren smartly walks away, but might have to start with reduced jungle health. He's going to try and recall once again getting it back to his camp, but be a little tricky to start things off. Rek'Sai, though, tends to be safe on those early clears, despite the changes to the jungle.
Yeah. But, I mean, Svenskeren, I assume he will start on the top side still. He has enough time. If you back by 1 minute and 20 seconds, you usually get there okay, but... Or sorry, if your back completes by then, you get out of base. But nope. Start it up for him, and Hauntzer will bring it towards him. Yeah. It won't be too much worse for wear.
Oh, Svenskeren actually uses the Blast Cone for a bit of extra movement efficiency. And this Hauntzer going to help out. We've seen quite a number of strong leashes.
Turtle got
chunked
at the beginning of the game.
A bit strange, given that we normally expect the Zyra plants to be doing work at level 1, but it's gonna, eat his consumables. We do have that very popularized longsword 3-pot start for both AD carries, so he'll be able to eat some of that sustain. But like you mentioned, it feels like Adrian once again going back to things he really loves, but seemed very effective in a poke-heavy bot lane meta.
He's being very aggressive, and even there, Arrow got 2 auto attacks off the 1 of Wild Turtle, so the trading is actually just way better for Phoenix1 right now. And Biofrost, you saw previously, he actually queued and missed the minion wave, which stopped a little bit of the push. He's using it for harass. Zig, like we said, you kind of have to just take the beating in the top lane, but if you do something like that and get chunked out, you definitely hurt your chances of actually being relevant a little bit earlier on.
Yeah, Jace, particularly good champion in those early stages of the game. So we'll keep track on that matchup.
And we saw that he had Thunderlords, and one of the interesting things about the lethality buff was the precision mastery in the middle of the cunning tree right before Thunderlords. Because we buffed lethality by 20% at level 1, Jace actually has 2 more armor penetration at level 1 than he did before. So that is something that, people are like, oh, Jace is really good. He's even better even if you don't build any lethality items, just because the mastery helps you punish in the early game, which was his goal in the first place.
Yep, you can see 10 CS up already. Lane looking good there for Haunter. Turtle and Arrow still trading blows. Thunderlord's procs from the plant onto Adrian, but you can see that looks a little better right now for Arrow, who still hasn't used that first biscuit, so does have a consumable up. He's got Adrian in the back pocket as well to try and help heal him up. So again, that looks to be helping out nicely, and so far so good on an early CS lead there. Turtle and Bifrost going to have to make sure they play the lane carefully, because if they have any attention as well from junglers, things could get real messy down here.
Yeah, very messy. They also have Inori playing to the side right now. He'll probably back Ryu taking a lot of damage. Yeah, Cassiopeia is just so abusive in the early game. She'll run out of mana and possibly back and try to pick up another Dorns or a tier and start scaling.
Looks like Tier now for Bjergsen. He's actually going to go back. Just get the wave push in first. There's that T you expected, and a control ward as well. So Bjergsen going to keep the vision up nice and early. Once again, Adrian snared up, but Turtle's just firing away, and Arrow knows he can win these trades. Bifrost doesn't have a root, so Arrow not feeling the pain too much there. And now Turtle's officially out of consumables, and Arrow still has 2 left if I'm reading those tiny numbers correctly. So
he has 2 left. Doesn't have to spend them, like you said, because he has the Nami healing him up and sustaining him. Haunter taking a lot of damage here.
Ooh.
Minion aggro as well.
Yeah, that hurt a lot. That cannon creep's working overtime.
Yeah, but Svenskeren is up on this side of the map. And when you have a Jace top lane, he's just providing vision for him. He's providing cover. You get the Scuttle Crab, you ward for him, you make sure that you are at least taking care of that lane. Because if you don't, he gets ganked, the Jace is completely behind, because he wants to play that far up. The fact that the Jace is all the way up there means that he's just a gankable lane, and Inori could make his way and punish.
And we have seen that when you can get some sort of leverage in these carry versus tank top lane matchups, you can potentially blow their flash, revisit it as a jungler, and then look to tip the matchup in your favor. It's not easy, but good coverage there from TSM to make sure Haunter's okay.
Yeah, and I will say, though, that Haunter is actually not destroying this matchup in the way that you would expect. He's only 3 CS up at the moment, and he was forced to back, ran out of mana, a little bit down in levels, and I believe the wave is actually pushing towards Zig in the top lane. Okay, it'll slowly push back the other way. So Haunter does have some CS to pick up here, but Zig will be level 6 a little bit sooner.
Yeah, Haunter again. Both top laners actually going to blow their teleports, so everyone back to safety. Double Doran's longsword there for Haunter, refillable control ward, and pretty much a lot of early armor and health for Zig. He knows exactly what he has to do in this matchup, which is just keep getting shot and hope he lives through it.
Yeah, and Zig loves Jace. It's a champion that he was playing before pretty much anybody else was in the top lane. He's been playing it for years. Even when he was trying out for Team Liquid, he's like, his pocket Jace is just so good. So he knows how to play against this champion, and he knows the timings of the abilities. So you saw when he used his dodge zone there, and he was able to, make sure, I heard the W from Jace. All right, time to dodge, make sure he doesn't get anything from it.
Certainly want to line those ones up correctly, as it looks like Inori's going for a bit of an adventure into the enemy jungle. Usually Svenskeren is the one we expect to see getting work done there, as Arrow and Adrian is going to push this lane in. It seems like TSM kind of playing on the back foot, push up towards this turret. And Nami working out once again as that strong lane support. Inori is done with his journey into the enemy jungle. Haunter again onto Zig, but Spirit's Refuge going to keep Zig safe. He's got plenty of charges on the potion, so should be okay as the wave pushes back towards him. Haunter has been able to wrestle back that CS lead, but Zig will now start playing catch up with this wave.
And the level 6 coming through as well. And the ward control, just looking across the map, control wards are very sparse right now. They've been cleared out, except for that one in the top lane that was put down, I believe, by Svenskeren to help out rather early on by Svenskeren or Haunter to cover the Jace, make sure there aren't any flank routes.
Yeah, got the Tribush Ward there. So again, kind of early game plan going well for TSM. Bjergsen's actually up CS as well. Looking at 10 versus Ryu, who's about to get his blue buff. That'll help tremendously in the matchup, but Ryu hasn't got the early back, has got his back in yet. I mean, Bjergsen only got a tier and a control ward, so he didn't get a huge spike off it either, but Ryu has been farming up. He's going to catch this wave and then probably look to recall and get a buy-in. Otherwise, he might get strung on by Bjergsen, who was thinking about going back, but instead going to stay around to catch his next wave.
Yeah, and Ryu actually hasn't been punished too much. He used 2, and yeah, this is actually tricky. Wow, okay. That was a good reaction there, making sure that he dodged it. Ryu was trying to fast shove the wave, which is what you're supposed to do, because if you back there, then Bjergsen can match backs, or he shoves it up and gets you a worse recall and you lose CS. But hold on, top lane.
Yeah, looks like something's happening here. Zig, big beating.
Yep, and now he's just going to play defensive anyway. Svenskeren's kind of wasting his time up here unless he's really going to force something. Because of the fact that Haunter actually chunked him out, gave Zig a a sense of danger just because of his low HP in the first place.
Under
turret.
Good taunt. Haunter eating 2 shots for his trouble. Seems like he's just got caught a little too far forward on the Jace. Been taunted twice now that led to some unfavorable trades.
Yeah, that's actually, Zig is playing this really well. He's getting the Jace lower and he's making sure that, he's damaging his mana in a way, because you'll use the energy to put down the Spirit's Refuge in the dodge zone when the Jace spent mana to actually deal damage. So he's actually doing 0 damage for the mana that he spent, and you're just spending energy. So that's the big thing there. Zig is actually slowly attacking his mana, and since Jaces don't build tier anymore, it definitely helps out. We
can see Phage now for Haunter, who has gone back for a few extra items at mid lane. Things could be brewing here. Blue buff's up for both of them now. Ryu's going to drop off a little earlier, but Phage Sheen up for him, looking towards that Trinity Force and the Lost Chapter, plus a Null Magic Mantle early for Bjergsen. And he's also got kind of his first strong component. So look for Ryu to maybe get out of the lane and influence something else with the package while he's got it for about a minute longer.
Yeah, and he's playing up, even though he doesn't have any control of the river on left or right side, because he has the package and he has a way to escape if he's fast enough just by hitting the Valkyrie. So Ryu feels safe here, actually contesting Bjergsen past the midway point.
And that was Ryu's thing at Worlds last year. He was constantly shoving up and applying pressure, and now it's kind of an obvious roam, but Ryu's just going to make sure he's going to find that control ward. Zig again is going to take some damage here from Haunter,
who already backed, and now Haunter is really low on mana again, so he's not being very efficient. So Ryu went to go contest the pink ward, or the control ward. He cleared it out and used his package there.
Just fine, getting a little bit of vision. Doesn't, not a big roam, but not too troublesome. And Svenskeren pulls the tunnel out to safety.
And if you're Svenskeren in this game, it's very hard to find a target that you can actually go on, because this Shen is just going to use his ultimate to get down there, and then you have a numbers disadvantage, because Haunter had to use the TP, of course, earlier, so you don't have a way to equalize the numbers if you do make a play. Now that the TP is coming back up for Haunter, we might be seeing a play come through.
Shen's got Sench United as well, and Inori will sneak his way into the first brush, but not the second.
Adrian has Sweeper, and he hasn't swept yet. So, yeah, now they know it's warded because of the fact that the minions went over there. But they are poking them out. So Inori's just showing in this lane because they've been poking so much. There's no sustain for the Zyra. There's no potions that you can actually get control of the river. Bjergsen is roaming down right now. They know this. And this is dangerous from Inori. He's picking up that honey fruit, but he knows to back off because the scuttle.
Yeah, TSM have so much coverage in the river. Actually, 3 different wards. Oh, I guess 2 wards plus the scuttle. Making sure they have all that vision. Svenskeren's going to take the rest of the fruit that Inori didn't want. And Bjergsen's going to return back to lane. Does land the poison onto Ryu. Miasma's going to follow. Ulti. Going to force Ryu to Valk out of the way.
Interesting that he would go for that. Ryu doesn't have Valkyrie. What is he doing?
Oh,
way too far forward.
Now Svenskeren's going to gank him. He's going to flash, but Sven's going to follow. First blood goes to Rek'Sai.
What was Ryu doing there? He's way too far forward. He's trying to get a ward in that right side bush, but he had just used Valkyrie. At that point, you just seed that. You just back up, and you just don't go for that.
Well, they saw Svenskeren, so a misstep there from Ryu could cost him it. Inori wants Bjergsen. He's going to try and isolate him, but Svenskeren's still there. Stand United going to run him in, but they're going to go for it. They're going to try and kill him before he completes it, but he can't. Miasma's causing problems, so Zig now going to have to run away. He's going to get knocked up as well. Taunt through. There's the flash. Bjergsen flashes in, gets himself the kill.
And that's 2 going over to Bjergsen. 1 kill, 1 assist with the help of Svenskeren. That combo turned online, and that top lane turret is now taking a ton of damage because Zig had to go down there.
Can't leave Jace alone with structures, that's for sure. Haunter gonna pull this wave away, let the caster creeps do some additional work, and we'll just watch this again. Inori, he really wanted it.
Yeah, he knew that the ultimate was down from Bjergsen, but the fact that Inori wasn't able to stick to him, doesn't have boots yet, the Cassiopeia was able to just move away, throw down the miasma, and Zig comes out. If Zig comes out and is able to get a taunt across 2 members, then he's in a really good spot, but the miasma actually prevented that, and they weren't able to turn it around.
Haunter also got that first turret gold, so a big surge of money into his pockets as he's finished a Black Cleaver, and that's the sort of CS lead we would expect in a matchup. Yep. Yes, Zig is going back to collect the waves, but free time for Haunter, got him additional turret gold, got him a 30 CS lead, and he's finished his Black Cleaver. Bjergsen's already started to go off with help for Svenskeren. Now the top lane's going off for TSM as well.
Yep, and you would expect if that earlier play from Ryu, if maybe an ultimate from Shen had come out then that was the opportunity for them to wait for Inori to get there. But then they just trickle in, they do this, the standard mistake that we see all the time. The guy doesn't have ultimate, let's try it, but the jungler is still there, still camping for him. Infernal Drake does go over to P1, so they get something back, but this almost 3,000 gold lead means that TSM, they get to take the blue. They get to do the classic TSM from last split, where they just go after the blue buff, after getting control of mid and the jungle.
Yep, this is the control that they exerted time and time again in summer last year. Arrow's lining something up while Turtle into the chain of corruption, and Ori's on top of him, and that was a misstep.
Doesn't even get a chance to flash there, so Wild Turtle gets killed. This gives pressure down to the bottom side. Ryu is now coming down here and looking for that blue buff, or at least getting around the area because he knows that it's going to be up soon.
Stealing TSM's plants, which doesn't feel great. Bergson's like, yep, got your blue buff. What do you want to do about it? Ryu's going to dodge out from the queue. That's a good start. 3-man push here for P1, though. Could get themselves their first outer turret. They won't get the bonus gold, but they'll be happy to take some gold away instead.
Yeah, but they're camping Ryu in the mid lane. They know he doesn't have flash. Giving gold over. Zig now here as well. Turret damage.
This can go down, yeah, and this actually should, I think, with Haunter here. Extra armor's going to kick in. They needed to wait for another minion wave, so won't be able to take the turret, but great damage done to it. And Nori is going to steal away the blue, but Ryu's relatively far away, and I'm not sure he can get to it, so sure, they'll just trade blue buff, but denying it from the mid lane is still a win for TSM.
Yeah, both the experience and the fact that this is a Cassiopeia. He just needs that mana. We saw him almost go out of mana in the previous fight. The Lost Chapter kicks in and helps out a ton.
And now they're going to go in for the turret, and Bjerg's actually trying to zone him off, but he took the tower hits, cleanses out of the way, and Nori snared up on the other side, and TSM, a risky take, but they'll get the turret. P1 looking for something, but Arrow with no ulti just can't find the snipes.
Bjergsen gets away by the skin of his teeth there, just barely. The cleanse coming through as well, making sure that he's able to just slither off there, but that gives a little bit more control to the mid lane. Zig gets a little bit of a breather in the top side, and Haunter will pick up these minions that are in mid.
Yeah, he's more than capable of defending any potential push, so TSM assigning the right people for the job here. Haunter's just going to clear this out, then he'll scurry back to the top lane to deal with Zig once again, as Haunter continuing to hold a pretty good lead in CS.
Yeah, and now that TSM have the top turret, lost the bottom turret, looks like they're going to set up Wild Turtle in the mid lane here. Provide him a little bit more safety. He does need to farm a bit. He is down in CS. He is down in levels as well. Looks like Bjergsen will be on the side lane because it's hard to 1v1 that Cassiopeia with anybody that you have right now. But Trinity Force has been completed for Ryu.
Yep, going to move that coverage probably down to that right-hand side as well and make sure Bjergsen is safe. Without cleanse and flash, it's a little tricky to try and get away as Cassiopeia, but I kind of like the spirit of the play. TSM have actually created a situation where starting to see more and more with, you know, a tower going down in bot and then the dual lane rotating to pick up safe farm in mid. The difference here is that TSM's aggression actually forced down the mid turret early, which means that one of these lanes is safe and one of them is unsafe. So Turtle has so much room to get free farm here, and every time P1 walks to mid to try and collect what should be easy farm, it's actually way less safe than it should be because the turret's gone.
Yeah, they're actually not looking for a turret right now. They would most likely put Jace into the bottom lane if they were looking for that turret, but it's just safe farm, like you said. Bjergsen will pick up the wave on bottom. They don't have control of this jungle side yet. And so now, I actually think Phoenix1 have a little bit more tempo here with bot and mid. And that is so risky to do.
Base check. Oh, no.
Oh, he's got him in there, too.
That's going to be Bjergsen dead. The taunt lands in. Miasma not this time. Zig able to take him out.
And you can see Bjergsen like, oh, man, I thought it was a safe area. That's the combo they're looking for. Inori with the ultimate comes out with the Shen. It's that extra surprise, the submarine coming through.
Needed a bit more coverage, but there was even a control ward in that push that Bjergsen face checks. So smart setup there for P1. TSM don't kind of do their homework correctly, and we'll get the mid laner killed. However, Haunter and Bifrost are looking for a tier 2 turret, and the rest of TSM's coming through. Phoenix1 are trying to respond to this. Instead of pushing mid, Ryu's pushing bottom lane.
Yeah, he's got the Trinity Force, so he does a lot of damage to these turrets. So he'll be able to pick this one up before there is an answer for it. So they will just equalize the turrets, and they'll have to push in mid. So Phoenix1, once again, a little bit more tempo here. I actually think they're playing the map a little bit better.
Good assignments here as Zig and Haunter are doing battle. Haunter out of mana, gonna have to leave the area. The rest of TSM will back off and try and defend this push.
Yep.
That P1 also had set up. TSM are cut off, and Svenskeren might face check a couple P1 members.
Ooh, what? Oh, Adrian was predicting the
bubble,
E.
yeah.
Okay. Predicted the E instead of reactionary to when it starts. I think you have enough time to throw the bubble and catch them as soon as you see the tunnels start spawning.
Instead, tries to get cute. But Svenskeren pretty tanky. Likely relatively safe there as well. TSM will hold onto their mid lane outer turret for now, but Bjergsen has an even longer lane to try and get this farm in. So we'll see if TSM, they want to change up the lane assignments, or if they're happy to kind of cover Bjergsen a bit better in that right-hand side and make sure he doesn't get ganked again.
The issue for TSM, though, is putting Bjergsen in that bottom lane means it's such a gigantic, long lane that they're not really actually threatening that turret. And this is the side of the map, of course, where Drake comes up. So if they get shoved in, they'll lose Drake control. It's much easier for Phoenix1 to start getting wards down here and down in the blue buff area of TSM, that they would be able to contest it and pick it up.
TSM, you can see they've got a big open space, but trying to slowly navigate down towards this bottom lane.
Okay.
Get the wards down.
And now they're posturing like they really want to take this turret and starting to get control of this area. And it's just awkward that Inori's on the top side of the map right now. Because Phoenix1, Drake is about to come up. They're saying that this is Cloud Drake. They actually don't care about this Drake, that they're willing to sacrifice it to get a kill onto Haunter and also to get this turret if possible.
We're going to try and take this one. Haunter, I think, knows what's up.
Yeah.
He's playing very far back.
Because his team is on the other side of the map. It's the right play to make. And now you can see the pinging on the bottom. Ryu is backing off the bottom turret because that's the counter play there, is TSM would go 3-man bottom. Now it's about who gets there faster, who gets the turret faster. You're seeing what are the bottom lanes doing? The bottom lane and support. They're just trying to fight each other in mid.
Yeah, TSM might have brought a few too many people to the bottom lane party because Arrow was actually continuing to push up and threaten that turret. Bjergsen and Sven, should be able to finish this off. They're going to need another wave.
Well, Zig has ultimate as well, so if Ryu is able to push them off, there is always the possibility of Zig ulting and then they don't get anything out of this, but I think Bjergsen will continue to push, and because there isn't ward control on the bottom side, like we can look at it with God Vision and say, oh, there's only Svenskar in there, but they don't really have 100% idea of who's in this jungle on the bottom side for Ryu.
They're actually dark, as you can see, all along this right-hand side. So
I love that we did that.
They'll leave TSM to go take the Drake. There were pings onto it, so this is kind of the natural play. TSM knew they had to plant a little further ahead given how long the bottom lane was, but successfully take the Drake. They have to trade for it, which isn't ideal, but they're still up almost 2,000 gold. So they've got a lead. It's not a huge lead, but TSM will take it. And both teams have done a really good job, both being proactive and also reacting to a lot of these mid-game macro situations.
Yeah, they're actually playing very similarly in the terms of how they set up their movements and then the movements that they make. So you can tell that both of these teams are top of the league. Because of the way that they're moving around the map, and it's just systematic. Even when if we were to go back and look at how they were taking those outer turrets, the one P1 getting the top one, and TSM getting the bottom one with Bjergsen, the way that the mid was going on in mid, the way that the bottom lanes were posturing, the supports and the 80 carries were posturing towards their sides of the map, just barely, and it's enough to make it so like, okay, if something happens, we are ready to go.
Ooh, well, Turtle looking for something. Edge of Night there as well. Really nice from Turtle. Actually just decided not to shoot any more bullets. I think the team wasn't quite in range to follow up, but that's one of those things that we haven't really talked about yet on Jin. We know how good the lethality portion is, but the blocking CC part's pretty nice as well.
Oh yeah, first time that I saw Edge of Night, I was like, oh, I'll try this item out. Bottom on Misfortune, you pop it and then you pop the ultimate. You can't be stopped unless they throw 2 CC spells at you, or a spell and a CC. It's so strong to actually just prevent people from interrupting your ultimate. And one of the counters to Jin. So it covers a weakness of his, and it's such an absurd item right now.
Yeah, really strong and good use of Turtle, kind of showing it off. No pick for TSM though in the mid lane. They are playing around kind of the one imbalance as far as map control goes, because they still have an outer turret for a little while longer. The longer they can protect that, the better, because that's direct central control of the map, and you can see they're setting up with Turtle, trying to find a pick around the area, because if they get something, they can translate straight to another objective.
But they don't really have momentum in any of the lanes. Zig has momentum bottom. Ryu has a little pressure top past the halfway point. Inori
not going to get caught. Blastcone should save him if he needs it. He's going to just use it to deny it from TSM and use the ulti to get out of the way. And Zig is now the huge problem in bottom.
They saw all five members there, so Zig will just push this down, get a little bit of damage on it. You know, he just nibbles at the turret, chips it a little bit. Swords aren't really effective against structures.
Well, he's doing what he can. Wants to see it to clean up the mess, though. Tower not going to take too much damage and will regenerate over time.
This also gives Zig inside track to mid, so he could actually flank and come around if they did want to make a play. Phoenix1 have a control ward right here on the right side of mid, so you have to abandon this if you're TSM. So you don't have the members who Bjergsen has to hold top. And when we talk about momentum, and I'm talking about wave pressure, it's because it's like Phoenix1 have a wave slowly pushing top lane. They have one pushing bottom lane. You have to answer those waves, or that's just lost gold, slowly gets chipped away. And so you have to give up that middle turret.
Ooh, good poke!
Top of the arrow.
Gets chunked low, but ultimate not used there from Wild Turtle.
Yeah, they have to get him back to healthy, because this is still the threat of a Baron on the table.
Gonna chase down, but TSM just kind of have poke and don't have too much engage. I mean, no hard engage for a team fight, plenty of long range engage for a pick.
It's like catch, yeah. They can catch somebody out with Desira, with the Jin, and that's really what they're looking for. And that's why the map is so open, because the teams are just okay with giving up turrets because they want a really big open map. They don't want a lot of places for you to hide. And they want a lot of fog of war so that they can pick people off.
Yeah, and that imbalance has been corrected with P1 evening up the turret score now. You can see that gold still up by under 1,000 or so for TSM, but this game is awfully close at 23 minutes in, and we've now corrected in some ways all the advantages that did exist before. I mean, it's one Drake apiece. You can argue that Infernal Drake's probably a bit better than Cloud Drake, especially as the game goes later. But we'll have another Drake in a little bit, and right now the teams are just setting up on what is a very scary open map.
Yeah, and it's only about a 400 gold difference, and this is kind of the Jace tax, where he's up about 30 CS. Mid lane, though, even in CS, bottom lane, Wild Turtle is actually getting a little bit destroyed there, with Arrow being over 10 per minute, and the highest CS in the game at the moment on this Varus.
I can't help but feel like some of these lane assignments maybe didn't work out the way they wanted to. Haunter probably needed to be tagging Zig in the 1v1 versus Shen, but P1 did a good job pressuring the correct side lanes and split pushing better, and that is the other thing to talk about. Sure, Rek'Sai is pretty mobile around the map with their ultimate, but it's nothing compared to the global presence of Stand United.
Yeah. And there's just a lot of things here that P1 have going for them that cut off options from TSM and can make P1 a little bit braver, where they have the Shen ultimate that can always back them up from Zig. And Inori, second item, sometimes we see Black Cleaver, it used to be the hotness on Kha'Zix. Now we're seeing the Edge of Night second. He will pop it, he can sit and brush, he can actually open up on somebody like Bjergsen. Now Bjergsen has to E before he ulties to actually get the stun off, instead of the knee-jerk reaction of ulting, which most people will have. So if he's able to just recognize that in that quarter second where Inori opens up that he has the veil on him, then he'd be able to break it. But it takes a lot of training, and a lot of presence of mind to do that.
Yeah, I mean, he's got both the reactions and the knowledge to be able to do that, but I just love that Kaz kind of had his two items melded into one. Before, you know, as you said, Black Cleaver Hexbreaker was usually the buy. Now just put them together in Edge of Night as Haunter and Zig doing battle, but that one wears off pretty quickly.
Yeah. It makes him quite squishy because he doesn't have the HP, but I will say that the CDR is missed.
That hurts on the Wild Turtle. You can see both these early lethality builds from AD carries. Kind of all about who hits those skill shots. We heard at the top of the day that Arrow is certainly known for his accuracy. It's not a stat we can measure that accurately yet, but he's such a strong player. Like, he's been known for his Ashe, his Varus, these types of champions already. He's very good at sniping on the utility champions.
And that's one of the reasons, like, I was so hyped for Arrow coming into the NALCS, because the meta looked like it was going to suit him. Ashe, Jhin, great champions for him. Varus then popped into the meta, and once again, Arrow just having the accuracy, it blows me away. I would love to see an accuracy stat if we were ever to have one. Technology, not quite there yet.
One day. As both teams still jostling for position. Again, Gold lead's very thin. And Inori going to look to take this Drake away, so P1 actually getting ahead on Drake, kind of evening that particular one up between the sides. Svenskeren going to steal another blue for TSM, and they're in position to do something around Baron. Haunter is in bottom lane now, which I think makes sense, and Zig is going to join him in that 1v1. But again, with the map being nice and open, you have to stick together. Can't afford to get picked off or blown up, but you also have to manage the map correctly and not give away a big objective. We're going to get towards Elder, and even the next Mountain Drake will be important. And of course, Baron is always on the table as that big objective that every team wants at this point.
And this is the type of game that you would expect from teams that are jockeying for second place. And Phoenix1, I mean, they are a far cry from the beginning of the summer split Phoenix1, where they were jumbling their roster around, trying to figure out, oh, how can we get a lot of these guys into the country? Now, Phoenix1, I know the organization has invested so much into them. Translator, having Fly come in as the coach, having imports, constantly just trying to upgrade, and they are very, very invested in this team being a top-of-the-table team. And
it makes sense. You know, the boot camp they did in Korea before the season started, getting the roster together early, getting everyone practicing together early, building synergy, getting all their players in the country like early on, doing all that legwork first. Like, you're right, the investment in the organization behind the scenes has been huge for this team. And it makes sense. We saw in week one, if you think back a couple weeks now, how every team just looked a little scattered, TSM included. P1 have looked consistent from the get-go, and you can tell the investment's paying off.
Yep. Very, very invested. P1 mean business, and they want to be able to take down TSM, prove that they themselves are giants, like we had said earlier.
Out.
Well, and that's the poke right there. Just does so much damage. And it made us a little bit surprised in Champions Select that the Varus wasn't picked up, but we'll see. Try to go on Turtle!
Turtle for a play. Look caught out, and Inori able to get it. Flashes for the kill. And now it's 4v5 in favor of P1.
And Turtle cannot catch a break. He can't farm these waves safely at all. Inori comes in from the right. Ryu straight down, straight up the gut. They're going to get this turret with the Trinity Force.
This is now a little opening created. Once again, we have some uneven objectives here as skirmishes trying something.
Now, they're actually stopping Jace from backing. Here comes Inori down to the bottom lane. He's going to try to punish Haunter, and Zig is here as well. Can his HP hold out?
I don't know. Zig's still tanking. Haunter, yeah, he can't do it. Not enough. Inori, just another easy kill.
That's big momentum there for Phoenix1. Now they have that tier 2 down in the mid lane. They have the tier 2 down in bottom lane. They can start making plays for that top side of the map, which is where they want to be in the first place with having that Baron.
Still a gradual increase, though. 1,500 gold ahead for P1. They couldn't convert a big enough fight to try and take an objective, so instead they'll take their extra gold, they'll take their extra turret. Turtle will go to now the next safe spot on the map as this top wave is pushing towards the tier 2 turret, but TSM, they'll cut their losses. They'll say they didn't get Baron. That's the big thing that the teams are looking for as we approach the 30-minute mark, and teams are still getting stronger and stronger. I mean, you can tell that both these teams are well practiced in moving around the map together, and they know that as it gets later, the fights and the margins you can win or lose by increase, or I guess narrow by in that sense.
Your margin of error becomes smaller. You can't make any mistakes.
Can't make too many. Misstep there from TSM is going to cost them a couple.
Can't make any pastry.
Not too bad. Well, all right. Here's the Baron from P1.
Got rid of the Blast Cone. Rek'Sai on the opposite side of the map. Tunnel, closest one is right there.
Doesn't take long. Arrow, though, in there, and the damage is huge from everyone.
Svenskeren, he does have the opportunity to get in.
He's going to go in for it. He's going to try and get some kills, but he doesn't have enough. He's dead instantly. And now Haunter going to try and snipe it off P1. They get the Baron, but can they get out? Bjergsen going to try it tied up. Inori tagged by the Rylai's Q from Cassio. But P1, they just feel confident now. Turtle going to open up. He tags Adrian there. Zig tanking the shots. Fourth one coming. Shock Blast almost gets him. Stranglethorns is there.
Oh, Inori's going around the Turtle.
The snipe, and now Inori look for another assassination. The flank is good. Inori makes the play and gets the double. Haunter now getting torn apart as a stand down. Keeps him alive. Bjergsen going to try and make it happen, but looks to be the Quadra. Not quite, but that's an ace for P1.
And P1 take over the game. They have all 5 members up, and TSM are down. They're going to start shoving these waves.
Caught slipping. This recall time has cost TSM any advantage around the Baron area. And now Shen's pushing bottom side. Zig's going to stay there. P1's going to shove 2 different lanes and try and knock down some turrets.
And P1 just seemed to understand wave manipulation and what it makes your opponent do. Zig made the bottom wave come out to him, so Haunter wanted to shove it a little bit harder, and he played as if, okay, you know what, I'm not that safe. And then Inori came down, got that. Haunter's back in the base. Then they start making a play for Baron. Svenskeren has to come back, and he's not able to get it away. Ryu actually covers the smite with that last 50 damage.
I mean, even then, Sven died before he could even try and smite it, so watch this one again. He goes in like 3,000 health.
Well, he doesn't really have vision of it, the control wards, and that's the point where you're just like, all right, are they either going to keep hitting it? I have about, 3,000 health. It's DPS that I can take off. Also buys time for them to get in here, but Inori going all the way around. He already prepares the Veil as he's walking with the Edge of Night, jumps over. Bjergsen actually gets hit as he goes over, takes a ton of damage, and now he's basically out of the fight too. Bjergsen wanted to re-engage that because he still had ultimate. Bjergsen wanted to make a play where he blast cone, ulties, and gets multiple people, but I think he got hit by an arrow right before he got over with the blast cone.
Yeah, play does not work out there, and P1 win a pretty convincing team fight around the Baron and break in 2 crucial places. We've been talking so much about these teams and their macro game, and the thing about playing the map like this is mid lane inhibitor, usually not that bad if it's the only one you lose, but losing a side lane creates such a big map imbalance. Yep. TSM going to try and make it up here with this play, but Inori's on the back again. Oh, what? Goodbye, Biofrost! As Turtle's dead as well. Inori 1v2 for another double. Might make it a couple there for Sven as he goes down, and Bjergsen, he's going to try and fight. He jumps over the ultimate, outplays Bjergsen. There's the taunt, and P1 just have it all.
They just slaughtered TSM. They're going to take this third. They have the Baron. They're going to end the game here, Pastry.
I mean, the minions are there. They're going to try and just run in for it. Zig going to tank up the shots. P1 not interested in the last inhibitor. They're going to claim the game instead. Nexus turret demolished by the super minions, and Phoenix1 clean up TSM in game number 1.
As clean as it gets, Inori 7-0-6 on the Kha'Zix. Great positioning, 100% kill participation at the end.
And a delicate game for a long time now. It felt like back and forth for 20-25 minutes. We were talking about what was happening, how both teams are playing it so close. Usually intense games like that, you have one defining moment that opens up the game. It was that Baron. And it wasn't like TSM went in for a 50-50 and tried to make a risky play. P1 made the standard Baron call, took the Baron because TSM were not in position, and won the ensuing team fight, which is the one. That's true. We'll see if what gets left open here for either of these teams. TSM Phoenix1 back into Champion Select for game number 2. And this is kind of the interesting thing about this portion of the draft, at least. The blue side usually informs more of what they want to be doing as far as target bans. Yes, some strong champions are usually taken away, but, you know, Maokai is a decent champion. A lot of teams are playing it, but it's, you know, not a specifically standard ban that we'd see on the red side. So TSM have a little more to play with here. Yeah,
we just saw Phoenix1 actually ban Maokai on blue side before, showing that they don't really want to pick it. They don't want to have to, you know, deal with that in Hanser's hands, and TSM are actually doing the same.
Yeah, we saw Rise again. That's another common sort of blue side ban. You don't always want to first pick it, but you don't usually want to give it away. This is the kind of ban I was talking about, though, taking Varus away from Arrow.
Yeah, and like Freak was saying, best Varus in the league at the moment. I would agree with him that Arrow is definitely right now showing that he's the best with that skill shot accuracy, the chain of corruption, hitting that time and time again, and then just the consistency in which he's able to land the piercing arrow on one person, let alone sometimes two, and chunk them out of the lane. Gives them a lot of room in the lane.
Well, TSM, where are they going for this next ban here? Taking their time with it, certainly. Actually, I'm going to go with Jay, so want to keep that out of Phoenix1's hands. This leaves kind of Rise as the ban that was on Phoenix1's side that isn't taken away here. But Phoenix1 also kind of know that we probably should ban Rengar. So if Phoenix1 ban Rengar, I'm curious to see if TSM want Kha'Zix or they want Rise, because they will not get both, depending on what happens here in the last one.
Some people are okay with giving up Rise because of the fact that they can play Cassiopeia into it and have an okay time. But the Realm Warps that Bjergsen was able to pull off, you either leave both up and you get Kha'Zix in return for the Rengar, and there you go.
Yeah, and that's the trade they're going to make here. I kind of like these bans from TSM. Phoenix1 waited a long time to kind of make their bans happen. I think they were debating what to do here, but this is an obvious first pick Rengar for TSM. Phoenix1 don't have either Camille or LeBlanc to take, but they can do some other things here as well.
I think it's an interesting trade for Phoenix1 because of the fact that if Rengar is banned, they take Kha'Zix, and then you're left with things like Rek'Sai and a little bit down the tier list, Lee Sin, etc. So what Phoenix1 are saying is, you know, we at least want a jungler that Inori can hard carry on, build damage, where Lee Sin, he'll build tanky halfway through his build, right? Rek'Sai is pretty much tanky from the get-go.
Yeah, and Phoenix1, kind of knowing this, might look to take the jungler third pick here in this phase. Jhin and Corki will be the lock-ins for Phoenix1, so another blind pick. Corki for Ryu. Rise, of course, not available, but Cassio looked just fine, at least in the lane for Bjergsen. Maybe the map mobility isn't really as there. It's a little unsafer to go into those side lanes, so we'll see if Bjergsen wants to adjust his pick, but he's got pretty deep pockets as far as champions go, and TSM do have some more picks to make here. Seen a little bit of this. We'll see if Shen is the next pick for Hanser.
This could be a TSM team fight composition with an Orianna coming through as well as the Ashe. I think the Orianna would be what they would want to gravitate towards in that mid lane. It does okay into Corki, and then you have the ball composition with the Rengar jumping in.
Well, hand seems pretty forced here for Phoenix1, though. I like what TSM are doing. Again, mid laners, particularly Bjergsen, and the role in general right now has a lot of champions you can fall to. They take the Kha'Zix, which they kind of have to, because TSM will 100% use a ban on it if they don't take it.
Yeah, very much so. Definitely in that top tier, that top echelon of junglers. And now the bans begin towards that mid lane here in Phoenix1. What do they predict is coming out? Because they don't have to ban supports if they're first picking their support.
10 seconds. Phoenix1, I mean, Adrian's also been playing lots of Nami, which is pretty different. So maybe he doesn't care that much about the support echelon. Syndra's going to be banned here, at least for the first one.
So I think what they do is you ban mid laners if you're Phoenix1, then you first pick, or first round in your second phase, your top laner, because you see the Shen, and then you pick your support knowing what you're going up against. Could be the Zyra. Expect another mid lane ban to come through here.
Yeah, Phoenix1 probably going to keep picking on Bjergsen for a little while longer. And TSM, they banned the Tahm Kench again. It's good into the Ashe. They'll look good with her, but
yeah,
probably predicting them to play it. And there's that expected Orianna ban.
They were able to smell it there. Figure out, okay, they want to play the Orianna. They want that ball delivery system with the Rengar.
And then Gangplank banned again, so
good into Shen.
Yep, that makes sense. Taking that one away from Zeke, who, like you mentioned, did have that in their Game 3 win last year versus TSM when they played that series. Well, what's the pick here for Phoenix1?
If you want to go really hard, you pick Fiora, or you pick Nautilus if you're just going to be, tank top. You could pick Poppy to try and stop the Shadow Dash and also the Rengar jumping in, but the Nautilus just has more lane priority.
Hurts the immobile AD carry as well, so Zeke going to take tank v tank this time, as far as the matchup goes. And TSM banning one support at least, kind of leaving this pick pretty late. Of course, they have to round out their team comp here, so they'll finish off the draft. But kind of interesting to see what Bifrost wants to do on support. And then, of course, how we finish off that mid laner as well. where is TSM going? Looks like Karma for this pick. Just going to run down the clock, make sure they have maximum time to let the draft fall in. And then what's Bjergsen's pick here? He knows his mid lane matchup pretty much assuredly. It's going to be that Corki for Ryu. Does he go back to Cassio? Like you said, he probably wanted Orianna, but it's not going to get it. So
I think Cassio would be great here. You have movement speed increase.
Ooh.
Oh, okay. So double teleport. So what TSM are saying is you guys actually out-roamed us, out-pressured us, had more 1-3-1 pressure. So now TSM are saying we're going to have the Shen split push with the 2 globals. We're going to have the Rengar go between the 2 lanes. We're going to have the Ashe for picking. And we're going to have another teleport for Bjergsen in the mid lane. And the Assassin definitely is something you don't want to 1v1 in that bottom side of the map or on the top side.
And I think it explains the support pick as well. More defensive, more mobility-oriented instead of teamfight-oriented.
Yeah, so when we say 1-3-1, that 3 has to have some type of disengage to get away if a larger number of enemies actually come in on them. So the Karma with the mantra and the shield, able to get everybody away, speed them up as they try to run out.
Yeah, and Zyra the last pick for Phoenix1, so okay. Pretty obvious what the plan is there. I mean, they can't see the summoner spell, so they've got a pretty good idea of what's going on. And Adrian will take the teamfight support Zyra this time. So kind of interesting. We're going to see an even more polarizing clash of styles. Last game, pretty similar comps for both teams, and it played out in a similar way for a while. TSM going to over-index on map mobility and macro play. This time on P1, the response sort of has to be to out-teamfight them now. So we're going to get to see something we've seen for quite a while, pretty much through the history of League of Legends, is one team wants to split push, the other team wants to force as many fights as possible because they expect to have a map advantage at almost every time.
Yep, and almost everybody on the team from Phoenix1, almost every champion there can pick or force a team fight to begin with an ability that catches somebody out. So when you're 1-3-1ing, getting caught is a big problem, but they do have the Shen to back that up and the Ashe Arrow that's global. So you do have to actually be worried. For both teams, nobody really comes out of this draft being like, all right, we got a way better composition to play to in terms of win condition. But I think TSM's angle is a little bit easier to actually execute on. Normally, I don't say that about 1-3-1s, but 2 teleports, an Ashe Arrow, and another global that gets you in definitely makes that quite easy.
Yeah,
so Phoenix1 has pressure.
Yeah, certainly do. And if TSM felt tested last game, kind of being run around the map, they're going to feel that even more so. So interesting comps. I think junglers, as always, going to have a look in. A little more pacifist fence Garrett on the Rex side in game 1. Honori runs it back with the Kha'Zix. But Rengar is a champion that is not often let through. They certainly aren't going to give it to Honori. Honori has played against it a number of times. So P1 say, we've won game 1. Maybe feel comfortable giving you this one. And if Sven can have a big Rengar game, that's huge. Because that's a reason it's almost always banned on red side.
And Rengar has some great comeback as well. If he's able to, get off the ground, that's great. He can snowball. But if he gets behind, I mean, he's not completely out of the game at almost any point.
Certainly not. Svenskaren, we'll see what he can get done here. Lots of farming in the early stages of level 1, so I don't expect the early game to be filled with too much action, but we'll see if either team changes their tune. Bjergsen's just having some fun, dancing around. Everyone's just hiding in bushes right now for TSM. Both teams fanned out, making sure they can see whatever's going on.
No.
Looks like Adrian's not too far forward either, so seeds won't spawn in that further part of the lane. Biofrost camping that bottom bush for now. Sven and Honori got into a scuffle last game. Looks like they'll just chill out this time.
Yeah, I mean, if you get into a scuffle against a Rengar who can just constantly gap close on you as you're running away, it feels bad. So he'd be able to charge up the Q quite quickly, especially since now when Rengar gets an auto attack or a leap on somebody and he has 0 ferocity, he actually gains a stack for free.
See what happens with the lane matchup in mid lane, but we'll get to that in a second. Biofrost getting hit. Tried to step on a seed. Adrian's going to make him pay. That plant will wear out. And there's another one again. Feels bad, man. Get your garden stepped on.
Oh, man. Ruined my day. Speaking of gardens, oh, poor Blasco. Still, the top side, we see it typically leashed because of the fact that you want to posture in the bottom lane like that, rush level 2. And with the jungle spawning a little bit later at 140 instead of 137 in patch 7.2, we will almost never see bottom side leashed unless there's a special occasion of an invade or you have an Ivern.
Biofrost winning the early trades though, and actually do have a Doran's Blade here for Wild Turtle. Longsword for Arrow, which is to be expected, but it was into Ashe. Is the reason people started doing it. Ooh, plants everywhere, Turtle. Maybe not thinking those would both be in range, but he actually ate the Thunderlord's proc and the plant damage there. So early trading was interesting last game. Arrow and Adrian certainly seem to have the lane advantage. We'll see if that continues now that TSM bottom lane has, pretty stable, pretty safe and strong bottom lane for themselves.
And stable, it has that ability to just shove. but trade very heavily. They do have more potions for arrow, and this is kind of the debate between the longsword 3 potion and the Doran's Blade 1 potion. If you have access to the minion wave, then Doran's Blade could be better because you don't make anything of lifesteal if you're zoned off. But with supports like Zyra that have the range to just zone you off of the minion wave, then 3 potions is usually what people want to go for, because the fact they don't actually have to have control of the wave. Oh my god, he wants to fight him in half.
Doesn't have red buff though, and Nori's just going to leave.
He dipped out of vision, he's going to try to get the slow.
Bjergsen zoning away, but that's a flash from Svenskeren. Ryu now fighting it in, and he's flash over Svenskeren. W is enough healing, needs a little more. There's the auto attack for Ryu, and first blood as Bjergsen dives back in, but Ryu stays alive. Biofrost here though, good little roam, but Adrian's also come up. This could be a disaster early for TSM, but Biofrost backs away.
Ryu makes it out, and he has the blue buff on top of it. Bjergsen still has priority here though, because he has the fact that he has the flash, and he also has the TP, so he'll be able to come back. But Svenskeren, oh boy.
Didn't have a red buff and wanted to fight for Scuttle.
And that's the thing, he didn't have red buff. So now Inori knows, hey, he didn't do bottom side jungle. Ready to go here.
Biofrost snap up, no good flashes. Total now the target, and Inori just lets it rip.
Yep, just trying to get damage on him. Knows he doesn't have those 3 potions. Gonna have to pop that 1, and there isn't a Nami to sustain here. Look at that, though.
I mean, he's trying for it. No, he's like, yeah, I'm taking this Scuttle Crab. What are you doing about it?
Oh, he saw the ferocity fall off. That's what made him turn. He saw the 4 ferocity in the stacks of Svenskeren, where Rengar is his most powerful, actually just fall off, and he's like, all right, I'm going in. No fear. Inori against Svenskeren and Bjergsen as a combo, he does not care. He's just going to play the game the way he likes to play it.
And like we said, he's a known Rengar player, was playing it last year, and now Rengar's completely in vogue. If there's ever a player that's going to notice the little things like that in those skirmish situations, it's going to be Inori. So Sven, he thought he was out, I think, with the W heal, but not this time. And that's a pretty big advantage early on for P1. They get the first blood. They're about 500 gold ahead, and Turtle and Biofrost are still dealing with Zyra plants.
Yeah, constantly having to deal with them. Mid lane, though, Ryu, he comes back with a Hex Drinker. So making sure that he's just got a good matchup up against Bjergsen and Inori. Ducking in and out of the brush, just pushing him away. This is the weird thing. He doesn't even have priority mid lane. Ryu is at the turret, and Bjergsen's like halfway up the lane. He's still pushing up. That is actually crazy, because you could be punished very heavily for that, but he doesn't care.
Yeah,
it's the right move.
Well, not quite level 6 yet. Bjergsen be a lot harder to catch once he does have his ultimate ready. But it's been landing nicely. A little bit of a CS lead there. Couldn't quite turn around the exchange that happened. So instead, again, Bjergsen's going to play safe, use the Echo Q to farm up wherever he can, and looks like Toto went back for a Warhammer, interestingly.
Yeah, Essence Reaver,
yeah.
Which then begs the question of why wasn't the longsword start, but he does just want to sustain off of the minion wave. Svenskeren top, though, actually didn't.
Malta could make it happen. Red buff's in, going to leap forward, flash from Zig.
Yeah, Svenskeren, normally if you're in combat and you can use your ferocity and you use your Q, even if you don't hit anything, it'll generate a stack. It looked like he was just either trying to close the gap or use the cooldown there to try and get a ferocity stack, but it didn't work out for him there because he was out of combat. But he does get the flash out of the top laner.
Level 6 for both these mid laners as well. Inori looking around. It looks like he just wants to steal away the jungle, so we'll try and take the Raptor camp away from Svenskeren, who we just saw on that top lane. Smart stuff again from Inori. Taking a lot of damage here from these Raptors, but kind of knows that his mid lane is there to protect him just in case.
Leaves 1 up.
What a jerk.
Maybe 2. All right. Yeah, leaves him up, so that's only 20 gold to pick up. Very low experience. And that means he also doesn't really plan to re-jungle that quadrant later. Doesn't have the jungle dominance just yet, especially against a Rengar. It becomes risky, so it's an opportunistic instead of one that he plans to repeat.
Level 3 Zyra, though, sneaking into the red buff. Gets a control ward down. That was quite a journey from Adrian, but does manage to slip in there. Good control ward, little trio from P1, controlling that right-hand side. In the meantime, Bjergsen still pushing in. Has himself a nice little laning CS lead, but Ryu, not too bothered, just going to take what he can. Huh? TSM going to need to collapse for a play, perhaps, although they have evened up the gold for now.
Yeah, 4 people kind of gathered around mid lane. Wild Turtle's going to go back down bottom. He's actually by himself right now. So let's play it safe. It looks like it might be a Tri-Brush ward that they want to get out here. They find the control ward. So everybody just kind of runs mid, provides some wards. Zig, no, he's gonna have to slow.
I didn't see what happened, but guess who got 200 into a turret?
Yep.
It was Zig.
It might just be just the fact that the Shen does so much damage with the grasp and the percent HP of the Q. And if you're able to interrupt the Q, then Nautilus just kind of has a long, slow, sluggish journey back to the turret. So if he gets pushed out of lane again, no teleport. The last 2 times that's happened to Zig.
It's kind of the some of the things about Shen that feels a bit strange, but I think if you play a lot of him, and Zig, you know, we saw game 1, very experienced top laner on the champion. He's actually surprisingly good in lane.
Yeah, he's actually quite good in lane on these tanks, but this is a matchup that's not working out for him. And Inori counter jungling the blue when his top laner doesn't have priority and his back and his mid laner doesn't either. This is just...
And evolving right there.
Yeah, I can't tell if this is just like he saw Svenskeren on the other side of the map, or if that's just he has the instinct of he's going to be on that side. It's just the timing.
I saw an exclamation mark ping from TSM.
Like,
clearly a little unhappy. Svenskaren's like, come on, man, this guy's in my jungle. That's my job.
I'm the Rengar. This isn't supposed to happen.
Happening right now, Inori just had such kind of a good flurry of jungle performances. Maybe recently against Dardoch wasn't too happy with himself, but this game certainly against Svenskeren, who arguably was the best jungler coming into the split.
They're trying to get him back now. They're trying to say, hey, you took our blue buff on top side. We're getting control of yours on the bottom side here.
Rengar ulti, who they want. It's actually Bjergsen leaping onto Inori. That's going to force the flash. Arrow goes wide, but good attempt from Turtle, forcing out the summoner.
Yep, but they also got Bjergsen's summoner for that as well. So he flashed to try and get the stun, and Inori had to flash the wall. Does the open up.
Snared again, they need to block the shots here. We're going to get burnt.
Ryu's coming from the other side, though. They're actually flanking Turtle.
Inori. Bjergsen needs to cover for his teammates. Last bullet lands on a Bifrost. Turtle forced to flash. Svenskeren still there. Inori leaps in, but it's just more poke from P1.
So close to taking out Turtle there. Almost gets him. But now they have to back, and that's their blue buff. I believe it's still safe. It's still up, and they'll be able to hand that to Ryu.
Nice little play there from P1. TSM overreach for the pick, knowing that it's secured on the buff, and instead don't quite lose anyone, but won't counter jungle the blue. Ryu gonna get it at pretty much 0 mana.
Yep. Oh, dive possibly coming in top here. Zig, no mana, barely any HP.
Gives it up. Wave wasn't pushed up.
Yep, wave wasn't pushed up, you're right.
But this is good from Bjergsen. We kind of expected him to be more roam heavy on the Echo and try and influence the other lane. His lane matchup is just fine. Echo doesn't really win that many matchups 1v1, but if he can get lane priority, push out, and then influence other areas of the map, Bjergsen thinks maybe that's the best way to push our team to a win this game.
Yeah, and last time that Bjergsen had actually played the Echo in competitive play was summer of 2015. So it's been a long time since he's actually touched that champion and played it in this setting. It's like riding a bike, though. You get right back on. He's definitely practiced on this as well.
Again, talking about deep pockets, Bjergsen is one of the players with very deep mid lane pockets.
Well, you can't do a pocket pick with him because he's like, it's all the champions. But I do think that this teleport will be coming into play more frequently as the game progresses, of course. He hasn't really used it for gigantic trades with Ryu and then teleporting back to lane just to get a good buy. He's just kind of holding on to it.
I think sort of reinforcing the amount of map mobility and presence he wants to show. In the meantime, Haunter getting his lanes pushed in, but Shen does last it well into Torah, and kind of troublesome for Zig because he's falling pretty far behind in CS. He's actually 25, approaching 30 CS behind right now. Yeah,
and looks like he's like roaming mid to just get some vision down. And I talked about like the pick versus the Poppy for the Nautilus. Having the Nautilus instead of it means that he has priority in the lane, and another catch on the Wild Turtle. But yeah, he has priority in the lane because of his wave clear. So the Shen, every time we look up there and Zig is getting chunked out, it's from Shen's part of the map onward. He's just getting pushed under turret, but Shen is actually picking up those CS. So good on Hanser there, whereas Zig struggling a little bit in that lane to actually finish off those minions.
Plants don't give it away. Bifrost sweeps. Gonna step, he doesn't want to step over them. Oh no, he
got gold though, so yep.
All right, Svenskeren gets mad, kills the plants. Wild Animal ravages Adrian's beautiful garden. Caught in top lane. Also, still winning these trades with Zig. Zig gonna try and make it back happen. Caster Creep's doing work. Inori coming up as well. And maybe looking for a dive, actually.
It would be hard to dive the Shen.
I agree.
But it would
especially with a teleport Echo.
Exactly. I would say it's easier to do than dive pretty much anybody else on this map, though. If you dive the Echo, he snaps back. The Shen uses the ultimate. But Inori going for the invade has jungle item completed, Hunter's Potion. Doesn't have the boots that the Rengar does, so this is actually quite risky that Inori's here. TP from Bjergsen. I believe, no, yes it is. TP from Bjergsen. They're trying to collapse on Inori because he's spotted from the Rengar ult.
I like this play a lot. Inori getting chunked already. They can't still see him though, and now Ryu's actually running with the package. Bjergsen gonna get stand united in. Haunter gonna join him. Ulti's away, and actually gets the kill. Fade away onto Inori.
Yeah, and I said it earlier. What is Inori doing? He's invading when they don't have priority in their lanes, and when they don't have the proper positioning either. like, before it was risky, and I was like, is that right or not? And now that's definitely wrong. He's definitely being a little bit too greedy.
Yeah, greed is the right word for it here. As Bjergsen had 3 people in his lane briefly, but he'll collect the CS as Arrow and Adrian were moving in to respond to the play, while Turtle...
Oh, TP from behind. He's actually running towards the other side, away from the Nautilus.
Doesn't have too much else to do. Biofrost's going to try and get away, but Depth Chart's going to be committed. That should be a kill for Adrian. Flashes in for the snare. Biofrost down. Where's Turtle? Oh, he hits the Dr. Execute. Well done, Wild Turtle.
The only time that you can actually say kill yourself and it's not Flame. He got away with it. Make sure that he dies to the turret. Doesn't give away gold, but he does actually give away a death timer because of the positioning. And now it's a race for that first turret. Inori on the top side. Can't really protect this Zig on the bottom. Rengar will come up and try to assist in the turret taking here. I think P1 does actually have momentum. They are a little bit ahead. Should
win the race here. 3 versus 1 or 2. Numbers advantage looking good. So first turret is going to go over. Arrow. Yep, commits for the last auto. And they'll share some gold. This top turret will be traded, though. It's actually not very unhealthy.
Yeah, it will go down, though. It'll take a little bit longer, but it will go down. And that's the thing, is the option for P1 would be to continue pushing. Ryu, though.
Ooh. That was a proto belt there from Bjergsen, so a prime position for an all-in. Inori looking to cover his mid laner, though, and Bjergsen kind of knowing all that. Just going to play back safe. Couldn't land the stun, so he doesn't go all in for that kill. And there's that top turret we expected. So equal in turrets. P1 will go up slightly in gold as a result, but 400 gold is not really too much.
Yep. Oh, Inori goes over. He's actually going to see Svenskeren here. And hello, level 9. He's definitely happy to fight this.
I don't want this. Svenskeren going to flash away. Blast code. Oh!
He clay pigeoned him. He got him in the air.
With the claws. Inori now going to look to counter jump with a blue buff again. Svenskeren's Rengar just hasn't been able to find too much here. Inori, I mean, Kha'Zix is the big 1v1 jungler. We know there's a rivalry between the champions, but Inori's won every exchange.
Yeah, he's like, oh, level 8, I got this. Jumps in, so much damage, and is forced to actually use it. And the way that that works is the Q actually just registers and starts no matter what. That's why he can actually do some things like Q and jump away and do a double jump. There's some double jump mechanics with Kha'Zix with like really experienced players in one tricks where you can start the Q as you're jumping away, he'll turn around, end it, and then he can leap again because it resets. It's pretty sick.
Again, auto attacks, unless you move out of vision, are going to complete. So Inori gets the fadeaway blast cone. It's kind of like a dunk, actually.
It's that, the Taste of Fear, it's the Q.
Yeah.
That'll start like that. It's kind of coded that way, you're right.
Svenskeren, not too much right now. In fact, Ryu and Bjergsen, as is now tradition, I suppose, moving down to their respective side lanes. Much better setup for a side lane mid laner this time for Bjergsen. I joked, I think on Friday, about side lane Cassio from Ryu, which did work out for P1. But Bjergsen just feels comfy here. Maybe look for a dive. Actually, Hans's going to join him. Flash forward, Stand United ready. There's the total. And there's the exhaust is down as well, but that should be enough for the kill. And there's Svenskeren to clean it up.
Yeah, the Rengar comes through. They're going to try to get this turret and actually get an advantage here for TSM, but they're just going to push it out. There's a deep dive, but no punish.
Good response there from P1, but TSM are grouped together for the Ocean Drake that's up now. Might have to take that objective instead of the turret they may have wanted, but P1 going to be down a man for 15 seconds.
Okay, so Turtle actually comes through. It looked like Jin Arrow was possibly thinking about opening up on him. This may be a block.
Ooh, Inori's going to be the taunt. That's a kill for Hansa. Stranglethorn's committed, only knocks up 2. That should be Drake TSM.
Yep, and there's no chance of a smite steal there, so they actually just back off. All 5 members of TSM able to actually make a great macro play there. Turtle shoved up the mid. The bottom was an engage from Bjergsen onto Ryu, but he had people collapsing. The Stand United. This Shen, we're seeing it more and more. It is so popular now because of the fact that those double globals, it's so funny whenever Shen is out of the meta, you're just like, why? The macro potential of him is just so good. He covers options like no other top laner.
Well, it's looking good in both the games we've seen it so far. And it's good to see TSM being more proactive on the plays. Bjergsen calling for the dive mid lane with the help from Hansa. These are the sorts of plays they can make.
You're right, exactly. You were talking about how, be a little bit more aggressive. And that's what he does here. Pushes the wave up. Ryu already chunked to half because he had eaten the Time Winder previously. Now Bjergsen makes connection with the E. Flashes forward just to extend Hanser forward. And Ryu doesn't have anything left there.
Svenskeren secures the kill.
Extra stab there. It's like, I mean, I actually think that's the right person to give it over to. Bjergsen already has a kill. He already has an advantage. We saw that he can destroy Ryu in a one-on-one. But you want to give it to the person who's been getting a little bit clobbered in his one-on-one matchup in the jungle. I think that the Rengar are now a little bit more even with the Kha'Zix.
And 2-on-1 might be okay, but Inori was in the lane briefly, and I said, I don't think you want to fight the level 12 Echo, even as Kha'Zix, who's very good 1v1. So he gives that up. He's going to give the lane back to Ryu, but Ryu is behind in CS by about 20, and Bjergsen's actually going to extend that lead as he starts to push this wave towards the top tier 2 turret. So lane assignments seem good for TSM this time around. They've kind of got that tank v tank matchup that I think they missed last time around with Haunter not being able to get the lead on Jace. And that's going to cover Svenskeren. He's had a bit of a rough early game, but looking at that gold, pretty much even. So it's going to be once again about the map play. Very close game first 20 minutes, much like the first one.
And Inori's just such a bold player when he plays, and we're seeing the hubris sometimes of his actions that it's hard to get a read on him. You're like, okay, this, what a jungler would do is they would do this. They would do this. Okay, he counter jungle that side. Now he will be on this side of the map. Inori doesn't actually abide by most junglers' rules. It's a little erratic and hard to predict where he's going to be. And the fact that TSM were able to catch him out was great when they were able to find him on the other side. But you can see he's up in levels right now.
Might fight. Uh-oh, didn't go well. So Garen going to get sharp strangled on. Not enough. Inori's blowing up though. Bjergsen going all into the backline, but has to ulti back. Doesn't get over the wall, and now Zig's going to cut him off. Bjergsen.
Sven looking for Inori.
Bjergsen's still being taken down, but Inori goes down to Sven on the flank. Haunter looks for the flash torn, doesn't quite connect onto Arrow, but Sven has some brushes to start leaping forward, and Bjergsen resets up the W as Haunter is tanking all the damage. TSM, they only got one kill, but they'll take it.
And Inori, you know, he went back in for that. He actually could have just walked all the way away, but he was spotted by the Rengar ultimate, and it will crit you when he comes out of it. It'll also give him vision. Inori tried to outplay it. That would have been really interesting if he was able to do so. And we'll watch it again, because he has his ultimate up, he has a charge left, and what he tries to do is he tries to actually cloak himself afterwards. So you can be spotted even when you're invisible by the Rengar ultimate. But what he does, if we do it in slow motion here, is he jumps in, he cloaks, but the crit still hits him. Remove vision, and then he's killed by the Q on the side. So the Q hits side, and it's an arc forward. And he got just clipped by it, just barely.
And P1 boys, a couple summoners get themselves out again. Couldn't lose anything else there. Turret's actually staying the same, so only lost a kill, which is the minimum for P1. The TSM starting to play up, get that vision out, and play more aggressive. They know they've got the tools to initiate a fight, and the pressure with the Shen in that side lane. So making stuff happen here in this game. It's funny, I said either outthink them or outfight them. They're kind of doing both with this draft.
Yeah, they're doing both for sure. They have the ability to move around the map a little bit better. The double teleport and the multiple globals of TSM give them that map mobility. They're also outthinking them too. They're contesting their buffs when they're stronger. And Inori there, like I said, he's kind of erratic and no idea why he went back in.
I mean, aggressively minded player, very strong-headed is Inori.
Do it for the highlight reel.
And that was kind of the play he talked about. Trying to outplay Rengar, gets himself killed instead. The only death in that fight. I mean, certainly calculated aggression. He is a good thinking player as well, but he will always favor the aggressive play rather than the defensive play.
Yeah, he can be a hero, right? That's the thing about him is he's clutch, right? Inori is a clutch player. He can come up big, and sometimes you need them to open up the game for you to actually allow your team to have the lead. Otherwise, you just sit on your hands. Inori's not the type of player that sits down.
Oh, Stranglethorn's not enough. Good little outplay there from the ulti by Echo. Gets some healing out as well. Turret, though, will stay up for Phoenix1. Haunter, though, working on a bit of extra gold advantage. Dancing around the turret, but it goes down somehow.
Yeah, the Tiamat helps him clear out those waves, and then the fact that he has both globals up, Zig doesn't have a single one. This is the worst situation to be in as a top laner versus Shen, because Shen just keeps pushing bottom, and then now you have to push up, and this bait could be from TSM, where if they have Svenskeren ulti, could be a backline threat here. They're going to
Zig, stun followers as well. And now Svenskeren's looking for a squishy. Who does he want? Eats a Jin trap at Zig. Who's going to get caught down and killed Sven. Still looking. Good snare from Adrian. Nice follow-up from Arrow. But TSM, they make the play.
Now, exactly what I was talking about. Like, this is a bait because Zig, you know, because he doesn't have globals, he has to force something as a 5-man unit, or else Haunter goes to your tier 2, and he claims your tier 2 turret. You at least got the Stand United out of him. Now he has the TP still, so now he can go back to split pushing, he can go back to doing what he just did. And Zig will be able to match him, though, and hold on.
Good flash then. Didn't get tagged by anything else, so Snare not connecting there for Jin. TSM might have to give up this outer turret, so P1 looking to stay around longer. It's aggressive, but it could give them a trade.
Yeah, Ocean Drake also coming up in 5 seconds here, so this will give them priority on Ocean. They're already there. Kha'Zix with the Q involved, and the fact that he'll be able to reset it quite quickly.
Don't have vision, unfortunately. They might actually look for something, but I forgot they had 2 teleports. Bjergsen actually has his as well, but it looks like with...
I think when you have the lead, you're okay with giving up that Ocean Drake. It's just an Ocean Drake. It's not going to allow them to like sneak a Baron faster with a Mountain or anything like that. You aren't really too worried about regen because you're a dive comp, not a poke comp. Or TSM are okay with giving that up.
Yep, and they do. P1 will take it. That's actually their second Drake of the game, but Mountain will be the next one on the table, so both teams probably looking with eyes wide open at that one. Lichbane finished for Bjergsen as well, so that damage is going to increase while Toto getting jumped on by Ryu. Bifrost going to protect him. Arrow is good. Blast bullet there. Coming in. Bifrost gets sniped. And Turtle still trying to fight Ryu, but Adrian's going to flash forward. Turtle gets himself out. Now Sven going to turn it around. Proto pump. Adrian is in trouble. Haunter coming down, gets the kill. Bjergsen exits with the ulti. Sven goes down. And now Haunter trying to tank it up. Zig joins in as well. Committed the teleport to continue the play. Ryu is so low. He can't really rejoin the fight.
Haunter's just going to... Ooh, nice dodge from Zig there.
Bjergsen still wants it though, gonna die.
Inori's coming in.
Ulted. That's a mistake. Arrow gets one. Haunter locked up. That should be two there. Inori stays alive and shuts down the top laner.
Like you said, when presented with an option, if it's safe or if it's gonna be aggressive but could get you killed, Phoenix1 are gonna take the aggressive option. They are not gonna sit on their hands. They're gonna try to make the game theirs and wrest it away from TSM and trying to do a Baron.
Yeah, Ryu again just stuck around and now gonna look for this Baron. Inori takes out the crab. Zig's very tanky, able to make sure that happens, and Turtle has to try something. Hook misses. Bifrost with good poke, but Arrow flashes in. Adrian's going to cut him off at the pass. Arrow now on a rampage as Bifrost, the only one really on this P1, a forced off Baron, but TSM keep getting killed.
Exactly. They have to get off the Baron, though, because Svenskeren came back up. Svenskeren has ultimate, and so if he would be able to get there quite quickly with the extra movement speed. Ryu, it doesn't matter who he's going after. He doesn't care. He gets arrowed in the face. That arrow's just accuracy. Biofrost is on the back side of the turret because that's where he was forced to go, and so he doesn't have much room to actually operate. Adrian goes down here, but Arrow in the middle of a fight has the crit up, hits Svenskeren, finishes him off, reloads, and he's actually just right up in front of everybody. Zig provides the peel with the movement speed slows.
Bjergsen tried to chase Ryu at the back end of the fight. Haunter also looked for the tank, missed that taunt, and it continues.
But this is awkward because they had the Ashe E go through, so it may have given them a false sense of security that they could kill them, but Zig's ultimate there, the knock-up, hitting both members is what allowed them to have the CC to turn. It looks like Svenskeren almost got caught there by, I believe, the Jhin ultimate, as Arrow has that on cooldown.
Yeah, Haunter helping him out though, manages to commit his ulti to shield him and ward away the rest of P1. P1 though, didn't get the Baron, but they are going to continue to try and push down this mid lane and even up that turret situation and the gold situation. And I don't think TSM can really do much here.
Exactly. P1, they're making these bold moves and they're getting a bit off of it, getting back into the game, but they're still down in turrets because of the composition. Echo now on the top turret. He has the Lichbane. He'll do a lot of damage to it, and it's hard to answer him with a Corki. So now they're trying to get multiple people here. He may have to TP away if they keep going up there.
Baron also a threat. You can see the pings for TSM. Wondering if they're there, maybe looking to take it. Haunter will move his way back down here, blast himself over, and get lanes pushing. I mean, this is kind of where TSM's comp can come alive. P1 needs to play them carefully around the map because Shen, he pushes waves well with the tier map. It doesn't take turrets that well. Echo does both.
Yeah. Well, I will say now that he has the Titanic Hydra, he's doing a lot of damage to these minion waves, clearing them out. That Titanic Hydra active will actually clear out caster minions. When you hit a melee minion, it'll go through and actually just obliterate the wave instantaneously. And it's an auto attack reset for the turret too. So there's a little bit more threat now coming out of that Shen, who you can see is 2 levels up because of the fact that he just gets to split push the whole game. He gets to be a little bit more fed and have these CS falling into his pocket. He's almost 100 up too.
Bjergsen, you can see, just demolishes that wave. 2 Qs and an E. Able to take that down. He'll recall though and leave Ryu with the wave that's coming towards that tier 2 turret. Mountain Drake up in a minute 55, so another tension point about to open back up, and some pretty big objectives on the table. P1 again sticking Arrow mid, clearing up whatever farm they can find that's safe, and there's still a turret behind, but the gold is even between these two teams.
And when we look at where that gold is, a lot of it is on that Shen. So he's got a lot of armor now. He's got a lot of, he's very fed. You can see Haunter, most gold in the entire game. And he's doing really well for himself, but that's not the damage. That's not the people who are going to be obliterating the backline. Whereas Arrow has a decent amount of the gold for Phoenix1, sitting at 4-0-1 himself. Down in CS, but he's been making those picks. He's making them worth it too.
Yeah, and you can see, Haunter now pushing in towards that tier 2. Bjergsen is stuck around to really continue to push that wave forward. TSM are forcing a lot of pressure in the longest possible pass on this side wave. In fact, Bjergsen looking for an all-in here.
Yep. You got to split them up.
Yep.
Split them up, 1-3-1, and then collapse. And it actually opens up great opportunities for the team fight that comes in afterwards, because the Echo wants to enter and have that backline fight.
So the disadvantage, though, is that with a 3, you don't really have enough people to go in wards safely. So you can see P1 actually have complete vision on that left-hand side. It looks like Rengar's trying to chase someone down. Ryu's got the package. Arrow pops the Edge of Night, and no arrow forthcoming from Wild Turtle. Spence Karen hunting, but does not find prey. So
that was for seeing if there's anybody on the right side between Zig and where the mid lane is, because the Drake is about to come up. It's a Mountain Drake, and this is the one that people really want to fight for. If your 1-3-1 gets a Mountain Drake, that's a huge boost in the power that they have in just continuing to 1-3-1. Even if somebody dies, they'll take the turret much faster. They'll be able to actually pick it up. And we'll see what Phoenix1 decide to do with this, because this is a bit of a situation where you could really make a misstep here, and it could cost you the Drake, cost you the Baron. They have wards all over Baron. They decide to go after Hanser here, who's actually been pushing a little bit too far forward.
No vision, and Inori's going to find him. There's the knock-up, there's the snare. Arrow ulti hits Inori, that's nice. And now Bjergsen's down as well. They turn it around. Very impressive collapse from TSM.
And that arrow is what they needed there. Wild Turtle coming up big with that shot.
Ryu looking for Sven. Sven heals back up.
Yep. And now with the jungler down, TSM say, screw the Mountain Drake. They want to actually blow the game wide open, try to go for a Baron here.
Side of control in their favor also, but Ryu's being a nuisance poking them as they move towards the Baron. TSM going to have to do this pretty decisively.
Arrow doesn't have the ultimate either, so he'd have to get up close. Adrian's going to walk up, try to get access to the pit.
Oh, Turtle, no, he might get 1v1, 1v2. Zig Dash Dance United could help him out. TSM have to turn around. Adrian's going Arrow, who's getting launched on by Spence Karen. TSM pulls the Baron in the last minute and take out Ryu. Wants a shutdown arrow as well. Zig gonna fall. TSM might get it all.
And TSM, they're low, but they take down 3 members plus Inori from before. Adrian is now one of the members of Phoenix1, who's in range to try and do something here, but it is going down swiftly. It's about 500 DPS though, so we have about 10 more seconds before this goes down. That's enough for Inori to get in there.
Oh, Arrow hits one!
He's in the pit!
In the pit! Trying to steal, they need to stop DPS, they do! That's Baron TSM!
They stop the DPS like you said. He's the only one hitting it. Inori cannot get it, and it goes over to TSM.
We talked about big breaking points. This is the breaking point of the game.
Yep, Adrian had used the ultimate previously. Arrow had used the ultimate. They have to walk up. They can't snipe people like Spence Garen out. Arrow has to flash away there. And Hanser, I said maybe he's not the guy doing backline DPS, but right there, he definitely was. You know, big points there for TSM. And you can see that catch really put them in a bind. And that arrow from Wild Turtle came up big.
Smart force from TSM. Kind of got everything. Got the jungler, went to Baron, forced the fight, and got the fight and the Baron. That's maximum for TSM, and now they're in such a strong position. They have a lead that P1 kind of had in game one. They won their big Baron fight. They're going to take the Mountain Drake as well. And now in position to look to close out the game. They're not there yet, but 5,000 gold ahead with this lead. Looks good. As Arrow just 2 shots and that's it. Yeah. Knows the pick wasn't coming.
A bit of a frustration ultimate there as well. Looking for something, because you can see the timer on the top side, bottom side. 1-3-1, best composition to have with the Baron buff, because even if you lose 2 members, you still have people on the flanks. You still have people on the sides getting you turrets, which will ultimately open up the game, push the enemy back, gives you gold, etc. It's definitely worth more than kills. So all TSM kind of had to do is just brainlessly 1-3-1 and collapse into occasional 4-1s, and then they'll be able to get these outer turrets.
Well, if it should be simple, let's see how good it looks. TSM in a position to move the game forward and force another third. They've had an awful lot of 2-1 victories, despite how good their records are.
All of their victories are 2-1.
That's correct, actually. Their only loss is an 0-2.
Yep. TSM, all 2-1 victories. Phoenix1, on the other hand, though, all 2-0s.
Looking good. Turtle shoving the wave out, and looks like the team is going to stick together maybe a little more. And Nori, he's a prime candidate for an Ash Arrow. None forthcoming just yet. Bjergsen did take the top lane tier 2, so 4 turrets to 2 right now with mid lane being worked on, and even Hanser on the Shang with a lot of help from Baron is also a threat on the structure. So TSM doing exactly what you said, collapsing in all 3 lanes.
I also said brainless too. Really, they just have to push up and you'll get objectives here. And It's one of the best compositions for it because you just constantly buff up all of the minion waves. And sure, you could do that with any composition to split up 1-3-1, but the fact that it is a normal 1-3-1 composition with teleports, with ways to reinforce and collapse if you want to do that. So you get to kind of run the other team around the map, get chip damage here, run to the bottom, get the chip damage there. So you get to keep all 3 waves in your favor.
Dirksen actually went for the turret. He gets himself hooked, but the parallel convergence is there. Rolls his way out of it and gets healed as well by the redemption arrow. Finds Zig. That's not the target they really want, but Arrow, he's out of bullets and he didn't do that much damage.
Yeah, and you can see the whole time, Hauntzer's pushing waves into the bottom side of the map. Is that scary?
That's something. On top of a ward. Like.
Back to mid.
Yep, and back
them around.
Just keep rotating. That's all they need to do. Bjergsen now pressure topside. The 3 have to be careful. TSM though back away. And this is exactly how TSM want to execute on it. Baron buff, not too much left. They need to do a bit more damage, but yeah, Haunts is doing work, and this is the problem. Just pulled apart across the map. Even in your base, which is a very tight space for you to walk through, you still struggle to defend all 3 lanes.
Yep, and Phoenix1, they now stare at TSM with a 10,000, almost 10,000 gold lead here. About 8 for themselves. The Baron buff is gone, so a little bit of a sigh of relief for Phoenix1. But the pressure is still on. They can't let up that much.
No, they can't. But all things considered, not losing an inhibitor turret is really good when you play against a Baron team that's 1-3-1ing you with a comp meant to do it. So good defense there from Phoenix1. I will say, still behind pretty dramatically, but TSM need an additional step now to end the game. Usually, you break an inhib in one of the inbounce waves, you take the next big objective, and then you just push in and win the game, either from the fight or just having the Baron empowerment minions or the Elder Dragon empowerment helping you. Now TSM need another break in the game to push themselves into that final step. So a little further away than maybe they'd like, but still in a very strong position.
Yeah, the minions will definitely not be as tanky for them to actually continue to push up, but they definitely have the waves and they have the levels. So they have the 1v1 potential where Nautilus is never going to kill the Shen. The Echo is never going to get killed by that Corki unless something goes really wrong for him. And especially since he has Zhonya's now on top of it. Bjergsen's just been having a wonderful game. And so is Haunter. Like this reminds me a lot of like the way that Cloud9 have been playing recently with Impact having 100 CS leads and split pushing, and Jensen in the mid lane also being on Assassins, diving in, and being able to split the enemy team apart. It's one of the best ways to play League of Legends right now. We talk about poke comps with Corki and Varus. This is the other way. Split them up, play them like a fool. Go for turrets over and over. Bjergsen.
Aggressive, doesn't pop any cooldown though. Feels comfortable-ish.
Oh, it's been scaring though.
He's got a flash, does do so. The rest of TSM gonna run away. It's Haunter working on Zig, but...
Yeah, Zig has to take damage there or else the minions get to the turret and then Haunter just hits the turret and ignores him. So it's a right to stand that far forward and take a little bit of a beating.
TSM can't get anything done though. They're gonna recall, heal back up and kind of put their eyes to the next major objective. Elder Dragon 115, Baron 126, so 10 seconds or so behind them. Teams are going to have another big choice to make. Which objective do they want? Whereas the vision and what happens on the execution of taking the buff.
And they have Mountain Drake, so TSM will be able to take it a little bit sooner. And they have the luxury of continuing to 1-3-1 with their globals and then collapse on whichever objective they really want to. So Phoenix1 could actually be the ones to start an objective to try to get back in the game. But I think it's going to come down to TSM will be there first, and Phoenix1, if somebody missteps from TSM side, they will try to make a pick, but making a pick against the Shen is becoming more and more close to impossible here.
And I think it feels the same way for the Echo, and the other side is that Bjergsen can kill you if you try and challenge him. Shen's going to annoy you, but Bjergsen's actually going to take you down with the Echo. So again, they picked for it. They're now going to reinstate the 3-lane pressure. They've got vision around the Baron. They're going to get a little bit around the Elder Dragon just to not get caught off guard, and Ryu's going to have to go answer topside. Haunter is already doing work versus Zig, getting that wave pushing. And again, TSM kind of need one thing to go right here. Whether it's a big fight against the objective, a pick that lets them push into a base, or simply a turret take, TSM don't need much more.
Yeah, TSM, they'll have priority here on the Elder Dragon. Ryu top lane, trying to shove it out so he doesn't have to worry about that wave. And it may just be a Baron for Elder Dragon trade, but there's a 5-second difference in these timers here. And you can see TSM, how quickly will they get out of this hit and try to fight, because that could be the make or break moment. And then Scarin pops the ultimate. He's going to try to rush in here. The DPS, does Phoenix1 have it?
Kind of caught Zig here, and they do have the DPS, but the arrow finds Adrian. Big amount of damage, but P1 took the Baron. They need to get out, but Bjergsen, he's arrived. Adrian is dead. And now Svenskar is hunting onto Arrow. Brushes there, the exhaust is down. Gonna turn it on as Ryu does good damage there to the Rengar. And Ori gonna get up scot-free as well. Oh no, Bjergsen committed his teleport. P1 are caught at all angles. And Ori gonna be chased down here. Biofrost gonna help out. Arrow in the brush. Do they dare to check it? He's gonna make it back with the empowered recall. It's a bit of madness here. Biofrost and Bjergsen try and chase down Zig, but Ryu's there to defend. Maybe more?
Didn't quite hit it there. They don't have anybody flanking.
What's up? Blocks for his teammates.
Wild Turtle in the mid lane pushing up, and Inori's trying to get that top lane. Yeah, 1-3-1 this. He just keeps pushing up.
Inori pushing.
I mean, everybody else on TSM was just past him, so he's like, this is my escape route, is to push. This is how he lives.
Doesn't keep going though, because he knows TSM are looking to break open the base. They may have Baron, but P1 could lose more here. Bjergsen back in. Just break that mid in here, but now they're going to look for the fight. Hansa finds it onto Zig. Svenskar getting chunked though, and actually the ulti's down onto him. Bjergsen pulled there as well. Hansa goes in, but Arrow goes down to Sven. Now Bjerg popping that, has the ultimate, has to use it there, but it's not quite enough damage. Can he zip out of this
so
one?
Close.
Not sure he can. The last Q's enough. Ryu with the missile actually finishes it off. And TSM, they don't get an inhib and they lose a couple.
But those are 50-second death timers. P1 now have wave priority in mid, top, and they could get it in bottom if they wanted, but I don't think they do. You want to get this middle inhibitor, that's our tier 2 turret, sorry. I'm so flustered by that, because it's just the turnaround there. Svenskar is just playing so aggressive when they can see him. You'll usually use the ultimate of Rengar to zone in that situation because you're going to get the turret. You don't have to kill them there, but the Elder Dragon also is close to wearing off for TSM. This is going to be P1 pushing all the way down and trying to get this inhibitor before the respawns come through.
Yeah, Baron being giving over is actually a huge mess for TSM, and keep in mind, that Elder Dragon take was not intended to be a trade. But TSM instead kind of mess up the push of their next push. They get a couple picked off and they lose mid-inhibitor, whereas that was TSM's plan in that last push down mid lane.
It's a bold call as well from Phoenix1 to just recognize, okay, the timer is just off enough that we would be able to get the Baron. And TSM, instead of pulling some people off of Elder Dragon early, they decide, okay, leave everybody there to DPS it down as fast as possible.
It's just funny to me how many carries are on a lot of these teams now. You mean we see damage from supports. Look at Adrian there in the Zyra. We've seen like multiple marksmen on a lot of teams in the poke comp. Seen full damage or close to junglers as well. It almost feels like in some ways teams are relearning their average Baron timers for taking, because Barons are melting left, right, and center. We've seen like snuck Barons, trader Barons. They're just falling so fast. I think teams are still adjusting to that change.
Yeah, and you saw that Adrian just barely got caught, and everybody else had to kind of use their gap closers, get over the wall, flash over the wall, and get out. Where that DPS was a little bit deceptive because Ryu also had package, and he just packaged over the Baron, so the Baron was taking the intense amount of damage. It actually is a large amount of damage that the package does when you're on top of it. The ratios are pretty crazy.
Comparable to Rumble ult, certainly. So
oh yes,
good usage there for Ryu. TSM, though, have managed to push their way back up towards this left side of the map, and Zig could be the target. They're going to ping on the wave they've got going, but Baron up for a smidgen longer. She just drops there for P1. Arrow finds Adrian. Rengar wants to pick. Bjergsen wants in as well, but he gets stunned up. Now they're staying united there, has to pull it away with the ultimate. And here comes Arrow, going to look for Wild Turtle. Hansa needs to be body blocking. That's the second shot.
Yeah, but Svenskar off on the right side, going to go after the turret, try to take it down, try to get access to the inhibitor here.
No luck for Knife Cat. That turret's still standing, but the rest of TSM are coming. Sven gets to be out from under that first CC with the W, and now Hansa is going to frontline it. TSM going to look to break here. They get it. Bjergsen wants to, he's going for Ryu. Damage is good, but Bjergsen doesn't have anything left. He gets blown apart by Arrow. Zig loses his GA, but it's 4v4 right now. No, 5v4.
Yeah.
Only killed the fake part of Zig.
Yep. Bjergsen ended up going down there with a 1,000 damage crit there from Arrow from what I saw.
That was a lot.
Just a ton of damage from that lethality build. That's the thing, you don't have to build that crit on Jhin. He's got that fourth crit. Just treat it like he has 25%, right? And it does missing HP on top of it. That's an insane amount of damage there when he's ignoring so much armor from Svenskar.
Let's find out, because that looked pretty messy.
It's like 1,100 from what I had seen. Well, we'll see it again here. Bjergsen jumps in. Damage on Ryu gets exhausted.
Yep.
I don't even know if Inori got an assist on that. I don't think
11:25. He died before Nautilus Ultimate had the chance to CC him. Oh man.
Oh, sorry. Ignores the armor of Bjergsen. I said Svenskar, but it was Bjergsen.
Yep. Well, That hurt.
Insane amount of damage there.
Bjergsen back in 5 seconds though. TSM did not get an inhibitor either. They've got 2 ones ready and open, but unfortunately they're the only one with an inhib down right now. That will be respawning in a minute or 2. Yeah, the TSM have to start worrying about the next Baron buff, and Elder Dragon 5-6 minutes after that as well. P1 have kind of pulled the game to a point where even though TSM are up in gold, as always, as the game gets later, that gold lead starts to diminish in importance and how much it matters. So that value's going down, and P1 feel like they're in enough control that they might actually win this game.
Yeah, P1, we're approaching 6 items for a lot of members. And looking at the items as well, Zig, I like that he went for the locket. He went for the instantaneous shield to make sure that nobody gets blown up by Svenskeren or Bjergsen. And I think that's the right choice here, because you don't want the Kha'Zix building it.
You don't want this to happen either. Zig, lost his GA, might lose his real life this time around. Zig still getting snared up, but P1 in to defend. Adrian going to try and turn it on with the Stranglethorn's big ult. He's not going to find anyone. No, Adrian getting dumped over to Nori. Around the other side, he's going to find Ryu. Bjergsen trying to stay alive as Svenskeren. Awfully low, goes down. Bjergsen lives with Haunter, still fighting 1v5. Redemption trying to come in to heal him. Spirit's Refuge just big heal there as well. Haunter, how are you alive? Gets himself slowed down, but he's out of the cone for Jhin ultimate, and everyone on TSM and P1 magically live.
Haunter is just being a brick wall right now versus Phoenix1. That looked like it was going to go so sour for TSM, where Bjergsen got caught and Svenskeren got chunked out. Bjergsen didn't really have the ultimate available afterwards and just barely got out.
All right, TSM, they keep a lot of their summoners in that exchange, so they'll have that advantage if a fight's going to break out again. I thought maybe they were going to go back for a double TP re-engage, but have to deal with the side waves instead. Baron is up in 15 seconds, though. The teams will need to be prepared for that objective.
And there isn't an Elder Dragon to pull TSM away from this one, so Phoenix1 are ready to fight it and looking to fight it.
Oh no.
But Bjergsen, this is the move that Inori likes to make.
He's going to try and win this 1v1. Bjergsen with a big shield is going to get himself away. Still has teleport ready. And actually Sven's going to find himself caught out. He tried to pick off Arrow. But Arrow just does too much damage. And Turtle is caught. Zig, I say that in air quotes, as Bifrost absolutely caught by the rest of P1. Bjergsen needs to make a big TP play. Haunter is trying to fend them off for as long as possible. Bjerg, where does he go? He joins his team for the Baron.
Yeah, he doesn't have a good TP ward.
Haunter just forcing them away from the area, though. He's so tanky.
Yeah, he's actually ridiculously tanky. He's basically a raid boss now.
But P1, they're not panicking too hard. Svenskaren's dead for 30 seconds, so realistically, they're not going to be able to take the objective. Baron is alive, and TSM might set up vision for it, but they have to wait a while for Sven to come back. So P1 pull away, defend their waves that are pushing in. It's just top lane for now, as Inori wanted to be a hero once again.
Yep. A lot of damage comes through there. But flashes away and then collapses on Svenskeren to the... Oh my god, Arrow just... Okay, Arrow with the blast cone to, I believe, get a little bit out of range there. And then Biofrost out of position as well, and no GA left. And back of the pit. Ryu and Inori both in there. You know the Valkyrie has a long...
Oh, Arrow killed them. They're actually going to see them, but I think the Baron's going to die. They're not in there in time, and that's a Baron over. Very sneaky from Phoenix.
They're fast, though. They're very fast. Bjergsen has extra movement speed, and Svenskeren is tracking them.
Not going to find them, though. They'll make it back safely. They'll be spotted by the wave, and now Adrian going to get jumped on stage and added in. Haunter needs to make it happen. That's a good route. Adrian could be taken down. He does commit to his ultimate and loses his life. Haunter and the rest of TSM can now push in for some turrets of their own.
Yeah, and inhibitors. This will be that last inhibitor turret, and all 3 inhibs are now exposed. The drop portal up, but also access to that. Trying to just take it down and trying to get out.
Redemption, good heal. TSM get 1. They've got an opportunity if they can find another fight to maybe win the game, but that would be so risky.
Yeah, but Elder Dragon up in 40 seconds. If you're TSM, hey, we got top inhib. Adrian is down for 25 seconds. We have time to siege a little bit more, maybe get another inhibitor before he's back up with the numbers advantage, and then we have the ability to get that Drake. But now they're just zoning from the top. Inori knows where Svenskeren is, and he's providing pressure onto Arrow.
All right, that's the only other inhib TSM can take. P1 have done a good job shoving down the bottom lane minions, so TSM will have to back quickly to get to the Elder. Do they just maybe stick around, try and find a pick, and then take it?
I think you stick around and go there, because if you back, you give up control, and they can walk straight to it. And now you actually just contest them actually getting vision of the area in the first place.
It's getting risky for TSM, though. Haunter doesn't have teleport at least. He doesn't even have ulti right now, so he can't join if he wants to go back. And TSM are kind of scattered around the objective area. Bjergsen hit the B button. That's not the right one.
Yeah, this is where TSM, you just sit around for a bit and you wait for those minion waves to crash into the base. You get mid priority. Play to the left side of Elder Dragon. The Zerat portal top is actually providing a bit of pressure on that wave so it doesn't completely collapse, and that's going to be P1 starting up. Are they going to go 50-50?
They might. Sven's tracking in Norway, so they know the flank's not there.
But Sven is also on the bottom side, so he's looking for possibly Arrow here. That backline access, trying to deliver!
Haunter's going in, they're walking back. Arrow lands in. Sven looking for Bjergsen, dives in on the team fight, and Adrian is getting torn apart by Turtle. Haunter still living for so long as Bjergsen trying to take out the carries. Adrian finally falls down. Haunter's going to lose his GA, but Bjergsen needs to kill the carries. Arrow firing away as Sven slays Nori. TSM up in the team fight, looking to chase it down. Haunter flash on onto Ryu's going to take him down. The double for Sven. The wipe is there. P1 going to fall to TSM.
And a hard-fought game between both of them, but TSM are going to come up big in that last fight, and they're going to end the game.
Showed a little more gusto in the last few moments. TSM said, no, we are not going to make the safe play. We're going to make a bit more of an aggressive one, and it pays off big. P1 had to do something about the Elder Dragon, and now they're going to lose it all. They're actually going to dive in, try and finish off the ace, but Nexus turrets are melting, and TSM, one more time, going to force a third game, this time versus Phoenix1.
And the last time that they played against each other, that was a 3-game series. And TSM, they want revenge. They want to be able to bring it back. Crazy game.
Fun series so far. P1 looked real clean, closing that out after that one big moment. A little harder this time around. TSM, I like the adaptation in draft, picking that really pure 1-3-1 comp, but also having some teamfight elements. They did need to do more than just a split push. We said that they were one step away, and P1 fought well to push them further.
If they don't think that they'd be able to get a hold of it on Phoenix1's side.
That's true.
And that it might be taken by TSM, because Jace was played into it previously, and it actually still didn't have a enormous impact or winning matchup.
And that's the thing I really love about blue side, actually. You get a lot of different picks you can take out. Red side is almost always banning the same 3 champions, so blue team gets some flexibility and kind of gets initiative in the draft. So we'll see what happens here in our champ select for the third game. Rise banned from P1, LeBlanc, Camille, Rengar, probably banned for TSM. So where do Phoenix1 look for ban number 2?
The Maokai Ivern were the ones previously.
Does Fly believe in his preparation?
I love his notebook.
Or does he want to mix it up? It's great. That's style, as there's Maokai. So tree 1 down.
Looks like a bit like a planner. All right, I got a 5 o'clock, then 2 p.m. beat TSM, 5 o'clock, no, dinner.
It's somewhere in the 2 p.m. He's penciled in the draft. He's like, yeah, this will do. That's definitely how he prepares. There's Shen actually there for Phoenix1, so good intuition, Zyrene. Blue side, Shen ban.
Yeah, no Ivern being banned out there. So TSM, you expect the Rengar as the last ban?
Don't think TSM have surprises. No, they do not.
First pick, Kha'Zix. What you expect to be on the board here?
Zig's going to have some fun. I mean, Jace is a consideration as well.
Oh.
Actually locked in here.
Wow, so they're putting a lot on the shoulders of Zig. He has stepped up before, but now there isn't that pesky Shen to play against it and actually turn around the matchup later in the game. This is going to be interesting.
Yeah, 2 tanks banned for Phoenix1. Seems first pick Jace. Maybe unexpected here for TSM. We'll see how they respond. Horns are looking for this first pick in phase 1.
You expect, based off tier list, that it's Varus and Kha'Zix, but they've passed up the Varus before in favor of the Jhin.
And they're going to take Kahi, which does make sense. We'll see if they want to make a safe AD carry pick. Probably not that one. Although technically, I suppose a marksman. Sven's having some fun though.
Yeah, already has the Kha'Zix locked in, so it won't be a jungle pick. I expect the Varus based off tier list, but would go over to Arrow, and yeah, there you go.
All right, that makes sense. I was thinking, they did ban it. They want to take it away. I feel like TSM somewhat intentionally avoided the pick in the first game. Maybe didn't want it. Maybe don't feel as comfortable with Turtle on it. And he did have a good Ashe game in game 2 there as well. So I think that change worked out. But I think TSM know what everyone else does. You cannot give the best Varus in the LCS that champion.
Exactly. Whether you're banning it away like they did in game 2 or picking it for yourself.
Ooh!
Nori. Ivern, okay, the green daddy for Nori. That's interesting because this is somebody we expect to be aggressive, to be up in the faces of the enemy. this is going to be strange.
I mean, he's still going to be in their face, but it's just going to be in a quirkier way. And it's funny, like, we kind of wondered where all the Ivan went. I asked Bjergsen when I interviewed him, it's like, have you guys been practicing Ivan? He kind of gave me a look. He's like, of course I've been practicing Ivan. This champion's so strong. But for whatever reason, teams just haven't felt to bring it out until this week. So Anori going to take it. It's one of those things where you're right, it doesn't really suit his personality, but certainly a powerful champion is Misfortune, the newly flexible Misfortune.
And I think it is going to go AD carry. I think this is a AD carry Misfortune because it'll provide a black cleaver for everybody else on the team. Ulti will shred it so you can run an all physical damage team if you want. Get a Corki for yourself for some magic damage mid lane. But up against Varus, when Varus doesn't have a support that provides him with sustain, it becomes a very difficult matchup because the Misfortune will both punish whatever Zyra or Malzahar you have and is a good matchup into the Varus.
I like this pick as well from TSM. Kind of forced to take a top laner here. Wanted a tank, so we'll take Poppy over the likes of Nautilus because I think the matchup feels a little bit better. I mean, it's never going to feel great against Jace. He's pretty good at smashing people 1v1, but TSM will take what they can get. Now we'll see what happens in ban phase 2. It's been a curious start to the draft already, and TSM continuing to focus attention on support bans as Malzahar is taken away.
They definitely think as well that it is a Misfortune as an AD carry, because of how well it's done into the Varus. And I think we'll be seeing more and more of that. The Deathfire Touch, Lethality, Misfortune does not completely counter, but it does a ton of damage, and it's able to actually deal with tanks too, because all the other AD carries don't buy Black Cleaver. She does.
Yeah, and more notable here is that Ryu has not had an early pick mid laner, so we'll see if TSM continue to ban out supports. We've got Syndra banned by Phoenix1, showing attention there to the mid lane. There is the Zyra ban from TSM, so it might be pinching support. Again, given that they likely think it's not support Misfortune, and with the two things he's good against banned away, that's probably pretty likely. Phoenix1 though, 15 seconds. I'm guessing another mid laner. Maybe they take Corki. Maybe they want Corki. Don't expect TSM to pick it and take Cassio away. Maybe they're worried about Echo. There's actually so much to worry about here for Phoenix1, and they do take the Corki away.
Because that would be the safe blind pick here. So now you pick your support if you're TSM.
Yep.
Go down that tier list.
Give Bjergsen the counter pick once again. He's just
actually, yeah, okay.
Okay, unless you want Orianna, right?
Yeah, because I'm thinking like Cassiopeia is what you would want to play if you're Ryu, considering the bans. So that actually makes a lot of sense. So now you get to figure out, before you see where this the Misfortune's going, you get to figure out, you know, what their bottom lane looks like. Who is their support? Is it the MF? What can we play into it here? Okay. Would that be what they take?
Maybe. I mean, Arrow could be the double bluff from Phoenix1.
Yeah, it could be.
I like what you illustrated about the Orianna pick for TSM. It's something we haven't talked about too much in draft, but it's existed since even before the 6-ban system. It's a blocker pick here for TSM. You take a pick that you expect to do well into the lane matchup of Cassio, and now it's taken away. Phoenix1, no, they have pulled a bit of a trick here, and there's Ashe. Unless that's Ashe support, and it's a real kooky world. Looks like we're actually very heavily flexing the Misfortune. So some wasted bans, arguably, on the TSM side. I saw the Azir. That's been a common pick into the Orianna, but
it's a Jace mid.
All right, there we go.
It's the flex.
The double, triple, fluffy flex.
It's the Phoenix1 bamboozle all over the place.
And Bifrost's like, Vel'Koz like, no, we're taking Thresh.
Nope, not happening. So yeah, now it's the Misfortune, which is most likely support the Jace top, or Jace in mid, and then the top lane Rumble. So this is the physical damage on the bottom half of the map, and then they have the magic damage in top. It's a miserable matchup for the Poppy. And now Jason to the Orianna does have a bit of kill pressure, and they have great range later on.
It's kind of the last time we'll see it for this year as well, so I do want to bring the coach matchup once again. I love that we had a very standard draft in game 1, where Phoenix1 maybe came out a little better with the Shen. TSM, I'll say, pretty heavily outdrafted Phoenix1 in game 2, and Pass kind of even pretty happy about pulling one over Fly, and Fly pulls out the wackiest double flex, double bluff draft I've seen in a little while.
Yeah, they banned supports on TSM side, so they definitely just said, okay, we'll just ban supports because that's something that, you know, we'll try to pinch that pool. And they didn't even take a support for themselves, right? Because they could have just banned one, banned a mid laner, then went for first pick Zyra or something on the second phase. Instead, they need to know, they have to know, so they play it safe.
It's the reason I love me some Coach Fly drafts. That was a pretty nice stroke of genius there from the man. So we'll see what happens as far as the play goes, of course. I think Phoenix1 have set themselves up well lane-wise, but TSM's comp is very strong. They've got good champions. It's very straightforward team fight. Should have a lot of tools to succeed here, but Phoenix1 want to mix it up completely. More of a carry there for Zig. Ivan for Inori, which is almost the opposite of what he wants to do. And double marksman bottom lane's pretty fun. We'll see how that one works out for them. That's probably the most standard thing about the draft Phoenix1 have on offer.
Phoenix1, though, is 1-1 right now against TSM. Do they establish themselves as a second-place team and the kryptonite of TSM? They have Fly, who bumped them out of Worlds. They have Inori and Zig, who stopped that perfect split. And this could be the start of it again, establishing an era.
Well, eyes will be on that jungler in particular. Inori skips his way towards the jungle and out onto Summoner's Rift. For our last match in our P1 TSM. TSM will go the distance once more. If they want another victory, they'll need to fight the longest path for it. P1 on the other side, like you said, not looking for an upset this time. They've established themselves as a real strong team, but they would love to take full command of that second place spot, at least over TSM, who had such a good showing last year.
Yep. They want to get wards down, get deep wards down, figure out where Svenskeren is starting, and so that Ivern can actually take away a camp and triple buff. There's a bit of a guessing game that happens. If Ivern starts bottom side of the map, top side, actually, this got warded by Hanser, which is good. And so what Inori did is he walked all the way around, and now he might blast cone over and wait for that, or he'll get in the bush, and he'll go from wolves. You can't know. You can't know. He's big, and you can see Svenskeren.
I can see him, and I don't know.
Yeah, you can see where Svenskeren is hanging out right now because he's doesn't want to be seen on the ward, and now he's spotted, and that's where Inori's going. Okay, bottom. He's gonna go Raptors to red to blue, but there's a ward right there in the river. And this is the other thing. Because you don't need a leash on Ivern, your top laner gets to go harass. Your top laner gets to possibly force his smite, get some damage down. We'll see it force the smite as well, so yeah.
I mean, Inori looking weak right now, but that catches up quickly when you just steal away camps.
Let's see.
Sven's rushing in blue.
Buff to buff, yep. It will be a level 1 Ivern. He's gonna go over the wall here, and he's gonna wait for him to go over. And hello!
Very nice. Inori just can't finish the channel. That could be a kill, Svenskeren. Looking for the first blood. Flashes! Oh no, there's first blood!
Perfect setup there from TSM to counter the Ivern. They knew that was the plan. They placed down the ward in that pixel brush. They saw him coming, and he didn't even start the blue to set him up. Just said, all right, you're gonna come over. You're gonna take that Q.
You're on that stuff here, but Zig and Hornsa talked about Poppy maybe feeling okay about Jason Lane. Rumble is rough for a melee champion.
Very, very rough. And that's what they did is they flexed things around. They flexed the Jace to try and get this better matchup in the top lane. Is Hanser, player of the game last time. Inori, to be quite honest, this won't disrupt him too much. He has the smite available, so he'll go over to his blue buff, and he'll be able to pick that up. But this is a game that Svenskeren could destroy. This Kha'Zix, against everybody who's squishy, that's a paradise right there.
It is. P1 going to have to play the comp carefully as we check in with the bottom lane. It's been pretty fun to watch Arrow Adrian versus Turtle Biofrost. Arrow, very confident AD carry. It feels like 2v2. P1 have got the edge. Turtle last game was able to keep up in CS and get ahead with all the sideline pressure, and Ryu is now pressuring Bjergsen as well. The other feature of the draft that was so good looking from P1 is that they found 2 solo lane advantages. You know, Bjergsen, done Oriana, he'll be fine, but Ryu is always going to have the aggressive edge here. And Sven, call over the caller. Ryu just leaps over immediately with the flash. He wanted it all.
Ooh, he leaped over with the flash to try and take the Q from Inori to actually just gap close, but the leap came out from Svenskeren in time before a Q could come in through from Ryu and actually deal damage. Exhaust got used there too, so those are both summoners out of Ryu for nothing.
Good news there for Bjergsen, who's going to have both his mobility summoners up and is definitely taking the wrong end of the trades, which is expected. Playing here is Jace, but we'll see if Bjergsen can just keep things even. He is doing so right now, and there's Arrow pushing up to that turret. Where did Adrian get off? They're actually warding around. I'm taking the blast cones.
Yeah, that's the thing. Supports, when they invade, they will actually try to kill every plant they can. Because they saw Svenskeren on the top side of the map go in, put down a ward on a camp that you expect to be spawning quite soon. Take both the Scryer's Bloom and the blast cone, so they don't have anything to scout you or gank you from a clever route.
You can see the TSM fans out in force as far as fan votes go, but P1 certainly garnered a lot of fans last year, picking up speed when they've upset TSM. And now establishing themselves as a top team, but how top, I suppose.
That's true.
How top 4 or top 2? There's a pretty big difference.
There is. And this is those big tests right now. I mean, Ryu, he said he hadn't played against any really great mid laners. He's going up against Bjergsen now. And with this flexibility in the draft, coming out a little bit on top, he's actually playing a little bit too far to the top side, but yep, there's Ivern.
Yeah, right behind Svenskeren. Sven's like, I don't want this. Rushmaker.
Put him in a bush.
Q gonna miss. Tried to lead. There's the ball as well for Sven, so he'll feel pretty safe. Bjergsen out of mana, gonna have to run all the way back though. And maybe even not feel too safe to stick around. We'll see what he wants to do. I think he's waiting, kind of seeing what the movements are. Might take this last wave. Probably expecting Rhea to go back, particularly if he's going for a tier.
Yeah. If it is a tier, we'll see, but I assume it's a serrated Dirk. Or if he's going for a black cleaver build, which you could go for. I don't think it's great in the Orianna matchup, but I think it's a serrated Dirk.
Yeah, cool. Bjergsen though, kind of using the IQ, knowing that, okay, Ryu probably wants to back here, so find space after hiding in the brush. Good stuff. Ryu though, back nice and strong. And I mean, Jace, we talked about it in the top lane. Very strong 1v1. That does not change in the mid lane.
No, it does not. Or else you'd be playing mid laners against him top with TP, and then you'd be fine. But yeah, he obliterates a lot of these matchups. Orianna, you don't purchase armor items either, so it's even worse than it was before, because you have the precision mastery, now you have the serrated Dirk. You just deal so much damage to those mid laners who don't want to pick up like a Seeker's Arm Guard, or you want the Lost Chapter. You even saw Bjergsen struggling to wave clear and running out of mana while doing so.
Yep, does have that now, so it should feel a little better, but can't take trades like that from Ryu. As the shot block going to help out. Bjergsen now level 6, man is going to come back up. And he's kind of expected this, and Inori knowing this, consistently moving into the Raptors and taking them away. There's just really nothing Svenskeren or Bjergsen can do about it.
Yeah, and now Inori, he's smited. He's got 20 seconds on his smite left. It's looking like Haunts are about half HP top. If they can get a poke on him, then it's definitely a go for.
Sven's here, but he's not quite there.
And there it is, behind the back of the turret, so he can't hide.
Good equalizer. Haunter with the ulti, kicks Inori out. That's a good start. Ryu actually going to get collapsed on Svenskeren. He fancies the 1v1 and almost takes it out, but a knockback from the hammer is going to move them out. Great defense, TSM.
You saw there, Haunter was thinking about flash E-ing over the wall and trying to hit Ryu in, but the exhaust is up soon and decides not to take that chance.
It's the Haunter just doing everything he can to try and keep the lane afloat. It is rough here versus especially blasting one first rumble, but Haunter doing well so far. Gonna take what creeps he can under the turret. He hasn't fallen too far behind in CS just yet.
Looking at the bottom side of the map and what Svenskeren was doing during all that time, he had backed and then he started clearing out some camps and went to his top side, so he did secure his red buff. His blue is about to come up, and they got all of these wards down in the Phoenix1 bot side jungle. So during that time when they saw Ivern top, they were able to actually get tabs on what Ivern's movements were. They're going to try going for this blue buff. It'll be up in a few seconds here. Ivern takes it instantaneously. He's right there on time. He's just going to take it.
Yahtzee. Inori just waddles away with it.
Yep, but his blue buff is up for a while now. And he's still not 6. He's so close to 6. He just needs to kind of kill one camp or leech something away. Well, oh, yeah, Jace really wants to get that blue buff.
Yeah, he's like, I'm going over.
Ryu's like,
I'm going.
All right.
Use flash. Oh, he doesn't
Get
have
the
it.
candy.
Okay, that's how that works.
Piece of candy.
It's delicious. Might cost him his life, though. Hey, a blue buff! Svenskeren gonna jump on him. There's the shockwave. Can I donate it over to Bjergsen? He really wants it. No, Sven gets it instead.
Sven did a great job of just going straight through mid lane and getting onto the right side. Normally, it's like, all right, nobody passed through mid during that time. Complete control there, and that's going to be Svenskeren picking up that blue buff.
Really smart brain power there from TSM. Again, it's difficult to outplay Ivan. It's such a different jungle champion, particularly with the early pathing, but TSM, you know, they've clearly been practicing it. They were the first team to bring it out in the NALCS.
Yeah.
And kind of showing that, you know, Svenskeren maybe outplaying the aggressive junglers, not so much, but he can certainly outthink Inori.
Yeah. Knowing exactly what he wanted, getting in his head and figuring out, all right, I want to be on that side. And with Ryu there, Ryu just took a really unsafe path back, and he used his acceleration gate too far forward. The Jace combos, you typically throw out a Q, and then you acceleration gate while it's in mid-air, so that it'll fly, and like you're like, all right, that one's going to hit, and then you throw it, right? Whereas there, it was just too far away from him. Really good Jaces, you put it right in your face and you throw it out, but he wasn't able to get a movement speed boost afterwards.
Who's going to start up the passive on the Scuttle Crab? I look to take that away. Bjergsen feeling a bit better about the blue buff parity, although Ryu has a red buff now.
Yeah, he picked up the red buff. Ivern just duplicates buffs on the second round of buffs. Not the first one, but the second time. He just leaves a candy on the ground with this skin, or normally just leaves the buff by itself.
Well, this is speaking of things junglers can do.
Yep, the
pretty
solo.
easy solo from Kha'Zix.
Evolved Claws gives you the ability to just kill this 1 second cooldown on your Q. Yeah. Balance at its finest.
Does have his smite. He's going to use it there just to make sure. And then look to take that Scuttle Crab down as well. Checking back into the bottom lane. Wild Turtle actually up CS here.
Yeah, Wild Turtle's doing a good job in this matchup. The Varus has a little bit more poke, you have to avoid it as opposed to the Jhin, not as much. And Ryu here, looking at Svenskeren, sees him. Chunks him for about half there, and you can see Inori on the left side may actually be willing to pick a fight in a moment here, depending on how Bjergsen postures.
Well, Shockwave going to go wide. Bjergsen with the early Sork shoes looking good for a bit of extra mobility, if nothing else. And Bjergsen again, got about a 10 CS lead there as well. Haunts are also behind about 15, but he's been okay there on the top side so far. Zig kind of winning as expected. Haunts is, taking his lumps and collecting whatever CS feels safe.
You were saying we don't really consider Zig a top lane carry player, but I think like his history would say that he does actually favor those. He just doesn't play them because playing top lane carries requires you to know all the matchups and timings to a T. In tank matchups, you don't always have to know it. You just have to know, okay, I'm fighting the wave more than I'm fighting the enemy. When can I push in and when can I not push in, and then roam. Whereas now you actually have to just fight and exploit the champion. Because if you ever let up on a tank, you just gave them so much room that they're not supposed to get in the matchup.
Bifrost, I think we're trying to scan out some wards, but lucky not getting himself killed. Haunter, charge of the Colossus going to proc in, yeah. You can see Spectre Scale's helping out a lot, but Rumble still does good damage, especially when overheated. Haunter, though, is standing his ground, and Sven's coming.
Yep, Sven's coming up. It's like this Poppy is really in his face. Might have to ulti to clear out the wave, make sure he doesn't get dove, because here comes the...
Can't see it. They're going for it. Haunter looks for the slam, that's one! Haunter flashes out, and another kill for Sven.
Exactly, didn't see that coming, even though we had Bjergsen moving from the mid lane, and you have Haunter playing so aggressive as a Poppy. The ultimate has to come down a lot earlier than that.
Whee!
Arrow comes
Little late.
Yep. Zig overheated before he got the ultimate out. Could have been a kill, could have been a way to stop it, and he wasn't able to do anything, not even flash there.
Well, Turtle just uses ulti. He's going 1v1 mode.
Don't know what Arrow was doing there. I think Arrow might have been...
Svenskeren, he's invisible! Lantern, goodbye. Get a chunk onto Adrian.
It seemed like Arrow was looking at the map as opposed to looking at what he was doing in lane.
Well, Turtle will take it. Just going to try and chunk him out. Arrow has to be careful. Little wide on that one for Turtle, but again, going to continue growing that lead. He does have the early Ghost Blade built up already, so doing good damage early. We expect Ash is going to fall behind at least in early DPS. Usually you can control the lane, but it seems like the aggressive Thresh support big helped out there as well. And Wild Turtle, even 1v1, doing some work on his own.
Yeah. And the Ash requires about 2 items to turn online, whereas the lethality builds are so popular because they feel really good at 1 and 2 items. And then from there, it doesn't feel as great, but they still feel really good when you get those arrows on the back line. That's why Varus is just so popular.
Adrian and Arrow going to keep pushing this one out. Well, Turtle did go back. Actually has a tier as well, which is as expected. Blue buff this time over to Bjergsen. And now he's got to go back. Might have the Morellonomicon finished already. And I really like this from Ryu, actually.
Yeah.
Edge of Night first, which thinking about it makes sense for mid lane Jace, but it's kind of cool to see.
Yeah, the Edge of Night, make sure that he can go in, pop it before he trades. Bjergsen up about half a level right now over Ryu. So even if Ryu went in to trade, it is really bold to do so.
No Morello just yet either. Kind of see how efficient Edge of Night is gold value-wise, despite the slight CS differential. And Haunts throwing his weight around a bit more now.
Yeah.
Level 10 to level 9. He's got a Sheen, actually.
He got the Sheen for damage, slapped. Trying to actually push him out of the lane. And the matchup is just rubber banded back. And I was saying, like, carry top laners, you have to know the ins and outs of all the matchups here. And the fact that Zig was winning it, now he's a little bit behind. The CS is now comparable. They're pretty much even.
Yep, has to ult the wave. He's like, please, no more Svenskeren.
No more diving. Please, no.
And now going to recall as well. Does have teleport. Smart stuff overall from Zig. As Inori. Svenskaren's going to fight him. Nope, too late. Recall going to miss. That makes the funniest sound.
I love it when he smacks stuff when he auto attacks it and he's not in a bush, because when he's in a bush he does like a limp-wristed
well,
lot of damage
opened up on Lanton's gonna help. Good assist there from Bifrost.
But yeah, when Ivern auto attacks, it's just kind of almost like an Elise auto attack where it's just like, oh, there you go, and it like floats over there. But when he's in melee and he doesn't have that extra range, he just hits it. That's great.
Well, here comes the dive. Inori over. Brush made. Whee! Looking for the turret instead.
Trying to get it. Top lane is going to go down a little bit faster though, so TSM first turret.
Gonna lose the race here. Turret gold over to Haunter, and Svenskeren is nice for a bit extra. You can see already Turtle and Bifrost moving towards mid lane. Might find a pick here perhaps, although they have been spotted, so a little unlikely. Edge of Night's gonna make it even harder, but we'll see how much TSM want to commit for this. A lot. Bifrost is in there. Looking for the hook, doesn't get it. Bjergsen Turns them off with the ball. Sven here as well. They might try and do this play again.
Yeah, but there are 4 people mid lane doing damage. Gonna clear out that minion wave. Goodbye, Ryu.
Adrian took a chunk, and they know he doesn't have ulti. TSM might hang around a little too long here and gonna hit the recalls. Sven actually on top of a wall. It's bad news. Recall's gonna hit him, buffer the jump out. Inori gonna keep going, but there's the shockwave. Goodbye, Inori.
Sometimes you just gotta take the tree sin Q. You just gotta go in. Took it in, got shockwave. That was Bjergsen just hiding out in the weeds, and Inori, you're the one who's actually super squishy. He slapped in Daisy, but
yep.
No, it doesn't matter. You're the one that actually gets blown up.
Important to note, Daisy very tanky. Ivern, not so much.
You need that bodyguard. I mean, Inori, we talked about how he's the guy who's going to try to make the play. He's been making plays. They've been actually costing him. He's a very risky jungler. Svenskeren, 100% KP, 3 kills. Just before that assist went over to him, and Bjergsen got that kill. Svenskeren had been doing work. Svenskeren had all of the kills.
And another
Fed Kha'Zix.
Drake solo here from Sven. Really is putting in the work. Bifrost here for an assist. Bjergsen's like, yep, have a ball. Why not? And that's the second Drake there for TSM. A mountain is very nice.
Yeah, now you're getting to the point of the game where you're wondering about that Jace first pick. Was that really worth it to give over this Kha'Zix that's just been working so well here?
4 people top lane. I think Honsai might have some idea that they want to rotate here, but...
Yeah.
Yep, he's like, yep, leaving. I'm leaving.
Yeah, because there's nobody bottom lane. That bot lane turret was already taking some damage from being pushed up. When Wild Turtle and Biofrost start calling that, you know, Arrow and Adrian aren't here, you definitely play back top. So Hanser did that right. Backs up. They have momentum, though. They can actually push for another turret here.
They've already
but
pulled
they didn't check the top bush. They didn't check the top bush. Hanser's in there. He's going to back arrow.
Biofrost, back arrow. He's dead.
Oh, Sven.
It's going to be okay. Death by touch and a bit of shield there.
You got to check that bush. You have so many tools to do so as well. And Hanser just hung out in there, and Phoenix1 get punished.
They might even lose mid here as well. TSM did early work on this turret. You can see how damaged it is just to the far left of the screen. And Biofrost looking for a pick, might get picked himself. Root caller on, equalizer down. Goodbye, Bio.
Yeah, he had flash, but he just got rooted. Long duration there, and checking Inori right now. He's actually maxing it second, so it's not that root caller max first, but it's enough. And he decides not to blow the flash. He's probably already dead and get chased down.
Garen might catch Inori here, though. Oh, he's looking for it. Inori, oh, he's caught! Daisy's there. Shockwave lands in. Sven wants to finish it off. Doesn't commit for it. Daisy doing work. Wild Turtle with a snipe, though. This is the ulti, but that's okay.
Yeah, I don't think he thought the snipe was going to get him, so just threw out the ultimate there for extra insurance. The flash out of Inori, though, and that's Bjergsen caught.
Stunned. That's big damage. Arrow able to take him out there as Ryu leaps on top of him. Wild Turtle flashes out, but that's not enough. A double kill for the Ashe.
And Phoenix1 trying to get back in there, only 2,000 gold down now. They don't have a minion wave to push mid, but they do have the wave clear superiority, and that's going to be them trying to actually get some control of this jungle. They don't have the jungler. Oh.
Ooh, good sweep from Adrian. Hook not going to land, a little out of range, but I like the angle from Biofrost. Svenskeren still wants in. He looks for Arrow, trying to take him down. Isolation damage is enough. Wants a double again. Dive the turret. See you later.
5 kills for Svenskeren. He's popping off. I said at the start. Oh wait, he got out of there.
Biofrost, you god! Saves his jungler, prevents the shutdown, and makes it look good.
Well, that's where Svenskeren has to call him Bio Daddy for a day, because that was a sick save to keep that KDA. Those 5 kills for Svenskeren, and I said at the beginning of the game that this could be a Kha'Zix paradise with all of the squishy targets. You don't really care too much about Daisy, but all of these squishy targets comes out of the bush. They saw him for a brief second, but Arrow doesn't have flash, doesn't have a way to get out, and he was just too far up. Adrian had spotted the Kha'Zix, and they didn't respect the fact that he would be able to gap close there. He doesn't even have evolved wings or anything like that, but they still don't respect it. And this.
Oh, Edge of Night drops.
Blah. Oh, that's so good.
I'd be so mad if that happened to me.
You mad? You tilted?
That would be.
You have to actually hit the ground for two disguise to deal damage, so it interrupts it. There are some abilities that will still go through regardless. But that's one that also you can flash away from because it's player targeted. You have to target the champion or a minion, etc. But it actually targets the ground.
Well, P1 going to try and get the push happening, but Bjergsen is back with a needlessly large rod to join in the Morellonomicon. He did manage to finish up. And TSM looking pretty healthy on items there, and also in gold. 4,000 gold up, sub 20 minutes, with 2 good Drakes to their name as well. You can see the leads there.
Yeah.
Hunter again looking good, but Svenskaren's got the biggest lead.
Yeah, this is why I thought Ivern wouldn't be seeing too much play from a lot of the aggressive junglers in North America, because you just get so far behind if you try to play the same way that you normally do, and then this happens, where that's honestly a Kha'Zix taking a blue buff about as fast as the Ivern would with the Smite combo after releasing it. So we see a lot of high skill junglers. We're talking about all our rookies like Acadian, Contracts doing well on carries. For the Ivern, it's a new skill set, different one.
It is. And they're going to try some sort of push here, setting up some brush, looking for a pick perhaps. Ryu has the poke ready to go. This is, I mean,
yep.
the Varus isn't there, but this has kind of been what Ivern does strengthen. A lot of the poke and seed style comps. I mean, look at Ryu just firing away from the brush.
Yeah, because you can't see where the poke is coming from. You just set up brushes where there shouldn't be bush there.
No, should not. Thankfully, Ivern makes some as TSM looking to push down just yet. Still with the turret advantage, that mid lane outer is good for them. So they managed to take that one away. And again, the gold lead is looking nice. They're going to just manicure these side waves and try not to get poked down too low. TSM probably lining up with that Ocean Drake up in 55 seconds.
Yep, and Svenskeren is becoming a big problem.
Good hook.
Here we go again.
Tons
of damage.
Be a kill. And Ori just can't survive it.
Yeah, he's dying in the cast time of Daisy and the redemption. He used the redemption.
Oh,
there.
Bjergsen, total though. There's the assist for the Cypher. Bjerg wants it still. Has the ulti, looks for arrow ball position, not quite there, but the push on turret will be.
And this is TSM just taking everything they can. The jungle, you no longer have any priority in your jungle at all. You've lost your jungle, you've lost your lanes. That's both buffs being contested by TSM because they have a fed Kha'Zix at 6-0 and 3. And this Ivern, it is just becoming worse and worse for Inori.
Look at the preparation from Hansa. TSM planned it all. They have the way pushing in bottom lane. They'll take another turret. 2 kills, 2 turrets, 5 turrets to 2, and the gold lead getting massive.
Top. This might be Svenskeren making a play.
Ryu. Going to exhaust him. Sven's going to wait it out. He's got his flash. Can he look the outplay? Flashes out, and now does he dare go back in? He's got no ulti. He finds the slow, but he doesn't want to go too far.
Yep, he wants to pick up those minions. He may have been able to pick up a kill there because Ryu doesn't have the mana.
And with no jungle at TSM, going to take their 3rd consecutive Drake of the game. Ocean number 2. Pretty nice. You can try to defend against the poke comp.
Yep, and TSM, it's something about these game 3s. They've had every single win has been a 1-1 to start, and then they win that last one and go 2-1, and hold on.
Oh, Zig, Shockwave, back he goes, he flashed. That's a mess. Hansa picks up that kill. And the TSM are just making plays at every spot on the map right now.
Sucked back in there. Arrow has the Ash Arrow. Maybe looking for Turtle, but they're just going to keep pushing up, and oh boy, they found Svenskeren again.
But Sven, he actually leaps out towards the Red Buff.
Oh!
Bifrost, you need to assist, he can't. There's the shutdown. Red Buff going to go over to Ryu as well. Candy? No Candy. No. Candy to Inori. Never mind.
That was a sick arrow from his namesake. That was crazy. Predicted that he would jump over the wall and fires it from around mid lane, and that's enough for them to follow up and get that first kill on Svenskeren. They desperately need. But now they're covering Baron Pit. They actually don't know for sure, and now they do because they've actually
Zig's waiting for a TP play, but Hansa's all the way in there. Ryu getting chunked down low already.
Turtle's out of position.
Turtle is, but he flashes over the wall. Zig trying to get in there. That's a good equalizer. Turtle getting burnt down. Will fall as our Hansa slams Zig into the wall, but the damage is still there. The lantern's not enough to save him, and Hansa goes down to Inori. Daisy eats the next hook. Oh, but she's okay.
She's alive. She will regen it all up in just a moment here. She gets out of combat. No, he puts it back in. All right, keep Daisy safe. Protect her. Get your waves. Get your waves.
Yeah, good picks there from P1. TSM still control the map. P1 have big side wave minions to deal with, so won't lose too much more there, but TSM tried something and P1 answered really well.
Yeah, Turtle's just out of position here, and that's a good TP from Zig from behind. And then Turtle's like, I have to fire this arrow somewhere because he doesn't want to be slowed when he's charging it up. He's still slowed. Gets killed by the ultimate from Zig. And then a good body block there from Daisy. People say she's kind of brain dead, but she definitely came in clutch.
Able to save the team there. So TSM still up, but the gold lead's diminished a little bit. It's dropped by, I think, 2,000 gold since we last checked in. 5K is still a nice lead, but and so are the Drakes that TSM have, but momentum stopped a little bit here. Blue buff going to go over. Things still looking good.
Yeah.
But P1 doing what they need to kind of keep this game afloat for themselves.
And TSM still have a bit of control. They have the side wave priority. They won't be doing anything like a 1-3-1 for a bit. Bjergsen will pick up side waves, and we'll have Hansa on the bottom side because he didn't use teleport. So that's what I think we'll see here is Zig needs to kind of stay with the main unit. They need to get control of Baron so it doesn't get taken. and they need to be able to contest Haunter on the bottom side without having a Baron being taken away. So that's really what Phoenix1 are trying to cover, is bottom and Baron simultaneously without a teleport.
And P1 really need some sort of pick in order to get things going. They have a lot of damage and poke front-loaded into this team comp, but straight up team fights, you can kind of see why TSM wanted to force, because they know they have the only tank, really, unless you want to include Daisy. And as far as team fights go, TSM should win a straight-up 5v5 they set up correctly, so they won't have to be a little careful and make sure that, you know, get them low, poke them away, or maybe even move them around the map. They don't have as many options as game one. It's a difficult to execute team comp, but certainly a strong one.
And now, because Zig is on the bottom side with no teleport, he has to clear the wave, run top side, and try to contest. So, like I said, cover bottom, but also cover Baron at the same time. Haunter,
zooming in with the help of Bjergsen, a great ball carrier is Poppy. Zig actually under threat as well. Edge of Night pop. Zig's going to get chunked on. That's good damage. And Zig gets taken by Wild Turtle. Spen stunned, but doesn't matter.
yeah, Spen does so much damage now with double lethality items. He is just shredding through people. And the isolated slow, that's the big thing, is it's an 80% slow when you have the evolved spike racks. When we were first seeing Kha'Zix, it was Q evolved and then E evolved, but the W evolved. Just so much utility, so much slow. And here comes Daisy right in.
P1 going to try and fight for this Baron, but TSM got it low already. Haunter pretty tanky. They're going to have to take out Daisy. They will get it there, but they're going to pull off the Baron. They don't want to make it too risky. Still staying on there.
Looking for Arrow.
Going to zone them. Going to chase Arrow away. Ryu's there with the poke. They need to be careful. They've actually found Arrow. Haunter might do it on his own. Arrow is there. Good damage from Bjergsen to follow up with a W.
Oh, the Poppy just moves so quickly, and he has the Iceborne Gauntlet on top of it. So once he's able to just get in range and throw the buckler at Arrow, he just can't escape.
Well, TSM going to keep moving. They got to deal with the top lane, so they will reset and not get the Baron, but they get a smart pick. Don't overextend trying to go for the buff and lose it. And P1 4v5. Get another one picked off there. Can't defend.
Ryu. Looking for Turtle.
Poke
hit him.
Good ult there as well.
Got him in the lantern.
No hook from Biofrost this time.
Yep. Even though the To the Skies hits the ground, it still wasn't enough and it still hit him. That's the turret going down though.
Yep. Turret's going to fall. P1 open up some pretty essential part of the map for themselves. Bjergsen dodges out from that shock blast. Arrow does have the arrow up. Not going to throw it straight down mid lane. And kind of talked about TSM's team fighting comp. Arrow will scale nicely into those situations. So again, P1, it's not like they can't team fight at all. It's just way harder because they have so many more squishies and there's a big Kha'Zix.
Yeah, exactly. It's much harder. They have way more squishies. It's a big Kha'Zix, but also this Poppy's at the point where you don't kill her fast enough for you to actually survive in a one-on-one. So almost anybody pretty much just falls. And there's no Black Cleaver in sight either. Ryu is now buying the Phage because he went for the lethality items first up against Bjergsen. And now he's getting that Black Cleaver to try and help out. But actually, no, Adrian has one. Okay, so he did have enough gold already. Forgot about support items for a second.
Yep, support misfortune, you know.
The support Black Cleaver.
It's fine, we've seen that.
Gets me every time.
We've seen that for years. There's the Ocean Drake number 3 for TSM. 4th Drake overall. Gonna get an extra out of it as well. No Elder just yet, so TSM are really stacking up this objective.
Yeah. Some crazy controls of it as well, because they now have 3 Ocean Drakes. The poke doesn't matter. The Jace hits you, and you'll just regen it back up in a siege situation. So P1, this happened to TSM the other day. Bjergsen was talking about it where, nope, enemy team, they got 3 Ocean Drakes. We were poking them, and it didn't really work out.
P1 know that now attention will be turned to Baron. Do have good vision control around it. Lots of blue wards in the area, but TSM, they'll move through, they'll clean those out. They've got bottom lane pushing for them, although Zig is going to answer that right now. TSM don't need much here to really break this game wide open, but they will need something. Going to see what they can do playing with their lead. Going to start by making sure they clean out all the vision that P1 have very carefully put around this area.
Yeah, before Phoenix1 fight, they really want to have Zig be level 16 and have that rank 3 ultimate, but he is actually a bit of ways away from having that.
Now we're going to check with a hawk shot, trying to see where TSM are. P1 maybe cut them off in mid here. Also a little late. Just going to throw with the ball. The arrow hits him. Good equalizer as well. Then open up and he flashes out just in time. Redemption down. Svenskeren throwing spikes.
Yep, throwing spikes, trying to get the slow. And now they're just trying to get mid-priority here. Maybe set up some bushes and push. You have to watch out. Hanser, yeah, you can see Hanser's actually just playing towards the back line, playing where they can't push up because the threat of a flank is just too high.
Yeah, even 5v4, P1 don't feel comfortable. Bjergsen healed back up. He's going to run back down mid. Try and force something. In fact, Haunter looks for Arrow, wants to chase him, needs to hit him with the buckler, but Arrow got both summoners up, so it feels pretty safe.
Whereas P1, they have some members trying to at least continue to have vision on this top side and handing out blue buffs.
Sven, ooh, he looked for something. He popped the Ghost Blade. Might find an assassination. Barely misses out on slowing Inori. Good bit of brush to cover the retreat.
They'll take it out on the Wolves.
Here comes the dive. Oh, nope. Not yet. They're going to push instead. Good little rotation from TSM.
It's a big wave, and the wave clear is pretty much the shock blast. Inori?
Haunter just going in, zoning them all off the turret. Zig might have to join. He's got TP.
Oh!
Shockwave finds Adrian. That's a big kill. Inori chunked as well. Haunter gonna not quite get him, but the turret goes down. That's a good pick. Support really do melt to these mages.
That was a sneaky ball there, just right in the middle of two people. Almost obliterates Inori, but Adrian just gets wiped out. A support life right there.
Well, TSM, they're going to start a Baron. That little blue trinket moved away. Bifrost is running
TP from behind. Zig does have ultimate. He doesn't have level 16 yet. Put down a ward. They know that he's in the backside. They put it on Bjergsen Turtle.
Going for that. He goes over to TSM. They smite it away, but the fight's going to break out. Turtle, he's low. Daisy's going in for him as well.
They want Bjergsen.
Flushes out Bjergsen. He's going to go down. Arrow firing away as well. Sven's very low. He's going to fall. P1 cleaning up the other end of this fight. Haunter is tanky, but he's not tanky enough. He's finally going to fall. Good snipe from Turtle, though, to maybe save the back end of the fight.
Oh, AD carry 2K16, but they're the only ones that survived. The teams are doing a great job of actually protecting their AD carries and going after these other priority targets. Wild Turtle flashed out the back of the pit and still threw some arrows that came up big in this. That's a great equalizer onto both carries there, hitting both Bjergsen and Wild Turtle, and they have to go to the back of the pit. Bjergsen doesn't have his flash, so he's ghosting, running in circles away from Zig. Gets flicked on, dies. Wild Turtle has to go out the back right, and Arrow will pick up Svenskeren. And then Zig here, he actually doesn't have to continue because I think Arrow does have enough. He didn't expect himself to get blown up there. So Wild Turtle's the only one who gets to keep Baron, but they do get the gold from the Baron.
Yep, they take the turret as well. While TSM are off the respawn, so P1 get themselves a bit of extra gold. And again, the game's been very close as far as the gold totals go. TSM have one person with Baron. It's Turtle that managed to get away, so maybe they can get some damage done there. But it's been a pretty open map for a while, and it feels like TSM are playing a little slower. The Drake control's been good. That Baron fight was decent. Didn't quite do it 100% correctly, but at least they secured it.
Yeah, they got the pick onto Adrian, so they were thinking that, oh, the big ultimate we have to worry about, the AoE in the pit, aside from the Rumbles, you know, it's down. We have that misfortune, it's gone. But TSM, they do it. They only have one member with it. And I want to talk about Turtle for a second, because that build, he has the Death's Dance now, so he's healing a bit off of the arrows. He's healing a bit off of the physical damage. And this is the lifesteal item that he's looking for, so he doesn't get blown up. It also makes it so that the damage ticks a little bit on you, as opposed to it all comes in one burst. So there is some reaction time added to when he's getting blown up.
It's nice to see TSM going to start a siege with the Baron. Brush is trying to protect the turret, but the cannon minions locking on. Slowly but surely, the Baron will take damage. They're going to move forward, take out that first cannon, but Wave's pushing at least bottom for TSM.
Yeah. The fact that TSM have triple Ocean Drake means P1 just have to do this in a burst. That Shock Blast acceleration gate onto Turtle took him to about, 3
Ooh!
Zig got hit.
Shockwave damage is there. Bifrost gets hit up. Adrian lets it rip with the ultimate. That's not that much damage, and Daisy's going to get killed here. Pulled into the team. Feels bad. And now that triple Ocean Drake's going to start kicking in. TSM trying to catch someone rotating aggressively. Ooh, wants a caught. I say that. He's Poppy. Pretty tanky.
Yeah, that Shock Blast. Not hitting anybody there. Fort.
Ooh, look at this huge wave.
Yeah, it's a big wave. Just trying to get out. And out on it.
Bjergsen almost dead to the ulti there from Zig. Has to be careful. Healed up by the Redemption. Turret's going to go down. TSM might need to retreat, though. Redemption are coming up for P1. They're going to continue the fight. Haunter takes the lantern out. Svenskeren can't find a target. P1. No cooldowns really left. TSM take the turret and get away with it.
And they're going to move straight towards that Mountain Drake here. And that would be their 5th Drake. That's huge for them. The 2 mountains and having the regen means that they can just back off of this. Bjergsen pretty close already to half HP after the honey fruit on the Ocean Drake. And they're going to pick up another. So it looks even worse for Phoenix1 as TSM. Oh, they're starting to put the final touches on this game.
Yep.
Try to close it out for themselves.
They've just built up so many advantages for themselves. It's not quite reflected in the gold lead. 6,000 up, still nice, although we are getting a little late. But those 5 Drakes.
5 Drakes is huge, but I do think that Phoenix1 have great chance in this with the way that Zig has been ulting. It's been coming up huge, and that was almost 2 catches there from Inori. Inori threw out a root collar, and it almost hit Wild Turtle. It was from the brush, and it was so close. If it hit Turtle, may have been a kill there because he doesn't have his flash.
TSM, though, they have to play carefully around all the damage they've got built up.
I'm a marksman too, you know. Sometimes you just gotta take it. He's actually just pathing by and took the red buff that was just sitting there on the ground.
He was hungry. It's been a long series.
Ooh, piece of candy. Sometimes you just gotta pick up the one that's there. You need to carry. Sometimes solo queue, you just, oh no, I took the buff.
Big sorry, didn't he? They're gonna clear these out. Barren it up for a little while, so TSM going to assault mid and top side. Haunts are actually guiding the minions forward. Gonna assist the super minions. Baron buff has dropped off though. Don't believe Turtle has it anymore, so TSM gonna have to do this the honest way.
But there isn't really much to fight for that's outside of the base of Phoenix1 right now. Drake's not gonna be up for another 5 minutes.
What are you doing there, Ryu?
Dying slowly.
Looks like it. Maybe not that slowly either, depending on how much I can catch him. Chain of Corruption not there. Ryu gonna try and stand and fight.
He's gonna try to give him the runaround here. Chain of Corruption already used.
Slow's there.
Slow's gonna try to poke him down, whereas bottom lane, Hanser actually just used the ulti to get rid of Zig. Ryu's gonna try to turn!
He's gonna look for the Bjergsen. Oh, he gets it! Kill comes down. 1-for-1 trade. Nice play, Ryu.
He turned it around there with 4 people chasing him, and then the Poppy bottom Hanser had to blow his own flash there. So that's actually a summoner spell trade that's in favor of P1, but an assist on the back of TSM's kill, so it's worth more gold overall.
Well, it does delay the game a bit, which is probably nice for P1. They're happy to get whatever gold they can find.
Ryu goes in the bush, hits Bjergsen there, even through the Locket shield. Gets the Thunderlords, just does so much damage right now.
TSM have to play a little carefully to maneuver the game to where they want it to be. Again, Turtle going to get the minions pushing through top. Haunser was doing nice work on bot, and now he's got 4 tank items, so it's going to be even harder to take down.
Yep, and now Phoenix1, they really need control of their jungle back on the top side. They have control of the bottom side, and that's where they were fighting Hanser just a moment ago. But Baron's about to come up in 38 seconds.
Pretty obvious what the next big moment's probably going to be.
Yeah. Looking at
Firefrost, Adrian, no! Haunts going to slam in, but that's not enough. Adrian is very lucky there was no carry around.
Yeah, if Svenskeren was there to jump in with an Edge of Night or something. He has the Guardian Angel, so killing Svenskeren, you got to do it twice. You even got to get that spell shield off. It's going to be rough for Phoenix1. Arrow picking up a little bit more as he was getting those. I can't. He's almost 16. There we go. He's got 16 for the arrow.
It's nice for him, but again, the fight will be around the vision and the actual objective itself. TSM maybe already calling to start it. They know they've got no vision for P1, so they're actually going to go at least start this up
use
here.
the Ash Hawk shot saw.
Now they know.
Zig is throwing it out on Turtle.
Turtle's out. Turtle has to be careful. Haunter needs to line up a big ultimate here. Misses Inori. While Turtle's going to get healed by the Redemption as Daisy went in for it. Haunter, though, still on the front line, making sure he's okay. Zig snared up. That's going to be a kill slammed into the wall by Haunter.
No arrow used there as well from Arrow to try and get a pick, try and get a catch. They just try to get mid priority. Inori hanging off on the side, looking for the poke.
Yeah, leaning pretty hard on these 3 oceans,
Top.
but they're going to give it up. Yeah, they know Top's pushing, so they're going to run for it.
Hanser's going to zone on the right side here. He might try to loop around Arrow, but everybody from TSM is going to go to the left, try to actually go and get this top turret. This may be an inhibitor as well, with 30 seconds on Zig.
Got big ultimates up as well, so P1 cannot overstay their welcome. Trying to defend. Svenskeren low. Haunter going to defend once more. Adrian's ulti, not enough. Hook finds Ivern. Inori played back up. Arrow hits Bjergsen. Arrow trying to do the damage. Adrian goes forward. Bjergsen going to stay alive for a little while longer. The shields were enough. The inhibitor should fall down here as well. They need a couple more autos. There's Haunter making sure it goes down.
Ryu looking for some damage there. Only hits Biofrost. Doesn't actually splash on the Turtle there. That's going to be the back for Bjergsen. That's going to also be that down and top inhibitor.
P1 are not making this easy on TSM, by the way. TSM consistently forcing fights at Baron, smartly pushing off, but P1 are always there to defend, fighting for every little piece of ground they can get despite the disadvantage they have, and continuing to manipulate side waves well. This, despite the difference, will be a tight final game.
Absolutely. And Inori, you know, not having his best of games right now. He got Svenskeren off to a great start because Svenskeren had a really good setup and countered the Ivern invade, and that's what really got P1 in this awful position. It's just Inori has been getting caught. It's a squishy Ivern. Even though his build is really supportive right now, he has a lot of utility to try and keep people alive. It is still an incredibly squishy, low defensive champion. No escapes, nothing of that like. He's basically there to buff up Ryu and Arrow, and he's going a little too far. He's overreaching. He's getting caught.
TSM have also been very patient in this game, but we're about to reach a large point in objectives. Elder Dragon up in 10 seconds.
Elder Dragon up very shortly. 5 seconds on that, and they're just chilling in a bush. Scuttle Crab control, that looks like it's a Scuttle Crab for P1, and it is.
Biofrost caught. Gonna be okay. Bjergsen with the shields. Gonna keep the relatively tanky Thresh safe.
That gives mid priority to TSM, so now you have to walk all the way around if you're P1 and cut this wave off here. You have to guess right as well, because they can go straight for the Elder Dragon, exactly. Ash helps you in that regard. It's hard to appreciate how much is actually giving to P1 in terms of knowledge when you're spectating, because you don't see it reveal, and you're like, oh, aha. But it's definitely helping in this aspect.
Ooh, they actually stayed for it. Haunter and Bjergsen, the unlikely duo.
These are the two that you can have just sit here and pick it up, and that would be the Elder Dragon with 5 on it. 5 Drake Elder Dragon. Crazy.
Good adjustment from TSM. Last game, they went to Elder Dragon, and it really cost them in a trade they didn't want. This time, they successfully two-man. They've got the wave set up, and now they can find a fight, push down a lane, find a catch, or take the Baron. All of these things, if they can find them, will happen remarkably quickly. TSM is so strong at this point.
It is 270 true damage burn. One of the biggest that I've ever seen. One of the biggest possible as well. Very close to being...
Look at this Baron. They're going to just shred it.
Well, it's like triple mountain at this
dead.
point,
It's actually dead. TSM forced onto the Baron and take it down. Haunter absorbs the arrow. Daisy's looking for some knockups, so that's going to take her out. Daisy, run! It's not worth your life. Haunter's finding the backline instead. Daisy running back towards the team. It's a tragedy. Daisy's down.
She's never had a chance, man.
She'll be back.
Yeah, in about 10 seconds. super low cooldown.
Maybe not in time. TSM at a little bot wave pushing. Elder Dragon and Baron now ticking away. Top lane super minions causing problems. Phoenix1 need to mount a miracle defense, almost 10,000 gold down.
Exactly, miracle defense to try and stop TSM from getting their revenge on both, you know, Coach Fly for Worlds, but also Phoenix1 for ruining the perfect regular season in the summer 2016. Turtle eats a root collar.
TSM might be going for the throat. Adrian's ulti down and Nori hooked up. Dig! That's the wrong target. Good pick there, and now Haunter leaping onto Adrian, has the lantern to get out. Shields are there for Bjergsen. Poke continues to land in as Ryu's forced to flash out of the way. Bjergsen needs the next hour of redemption, heals them up a bit, and TSM, they're gonna go for it.
Yeah, there's just so much damage here. They're just gonna try to muscle their way in. Daisy's back in.
Daisy back into the fray.
And Ori!
Aaron looking for a pick, he wants an Ori! He's gonna find it, leaps out of the way. And TSM letting the super minions do a bit more work. They're getting chunked down pretty low. But P1 just don't have anything left. TSM, Nexus wide open, Biofrost, looks for the play, it's gonna cost him, it's Fed leaps in, and TSM 2-1 versus Phoenix1.
And TSM push Phoenix1 down the standings and take second place.
We expected it to be a close series, and it was. Three great games from both these teams, but TSM showing that maybe it's a bit more experience. Maybe it's a bit more time together. They talk so much about how important it is to them their roster is all together, is on the same page, speaks the same language. And it pays off there. TSM still looking good. Will sit in second, at least for now. And P1, they've shown so much improvement, but not enough today at least to best TSM.
Yep, and the Kazakhs ended up being a big problem for them. The Shen in game 2 from Hotzer, and then in game 3, the Kazakhs start versus the Ivern. They picked the Jace over it, and Ryu wasn't able to get as much done with that Jace first pick as you would hope he would be able to for that return.
Like I said, I love the draft from P1. It was so creative.
Yeah, it was.
But was definitely a difficult comp to try and pull off there in Phoenix1. I like that they're willing to play those sort of things against TSM. But at the end of the day, TSM's comp may be a little simpler to use, and Haunter on tanks in particular showed up this series. Both the games they won, he was a huge part in their win.
Yeah, I think he was a huge part in both those wins, like you said, as well. And I think Svenskeren in this game was a big hero. I think there was somebody who was like a little bit even more clutch than him, and I think that's Biofrost. Biofrost hooked to end up saving Wild Turtle. Biofrost's last few hooks to pull a Nori in, and that last one to hit Zig, and then have the ultimate come off afterwards from Bjergsen in the Shockwave. So there were some clutch hooks to actually end the game or prevent it from actually getting snowballed. And he was pretty much their primary engage tool, considering that they had an Orianna and they had the Poppy to try and jump in. But the hook is really what gets you that pick.
I think Biofrost has played multiple Thresh games already, and he's looked good every time. It's
still playing.
Clearly a champion he's comfortable with, despite it not being, super in meta right now. And it matters. Maybe it's just TSM need him to step up a bit more and make some more plays. He had his rookie split last year, looked very good. Now coming into his sophomore year, looking still just as fine.
Yeah, and there were some nerves or what we were seeing at Worlds from him. And so that's what he'll be looking forward to, is if he ever goes back to international competition, what does it look like for him? What is his performance like there? Is he going to have those rock steady hands and being able to deliver and make plays like that too? Because those are very bold. And we see sometimes your bold moves, like what Inori was trying to do not pay off, and they actually backfire.
Yeah, they did backfire in that one. But for more on the win, let's check in with Freak and TSM support, Biofrost.
Thank you very much, Pastry. Great cast in the day. I am here with Biofrost, and I want to congratulate you, first of all, on a hard-fought win over Phoenix1. Any kind of comments, first off, just about that match?
It was like a pretty long series. We always end up losing the first game, and then we come back. It's been happening like every game pretty much, so it's pretty interesting.
Are you bought into the newly created TSM P1 rivalry? They ruined your perfect season last time around. Is this a team that meant anything extra to you to beat, or is it just because they're in second, it was a valuable game?
I mean, P1 has looked pretty strong in the start of the season because, they had a couple of roster changes and they're looking really strong. So we thought they were a pretty good team, and then we came in today prepared, and we really wanted to beat them. We had the trash talk video too. That was fun. So, yeah.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And speaking of things that are going to be a lot of fun, right now you guys in second place, looking like one of the teams to make the finals. Tell me how excited you are if you get to go back to your hometown, I believe it is, to represent TSM back in Vancouver.
Yeah, going back to Vancouver for finals would be pretty cool because I have a lot of friends there, and if they came to watch, it'd be pretty nice. And then some of the the stadiums I do know, and then I think we're going to the Pacific Coliseum, and then that's a place that I've been to when I was younger, so it'd be cool to play in there instead of being as a spectator.
It'll be cool definitely to be on both sides of that one. So after the 5-1 start, talk to me about who your next toughest opponent is. Of course, C9 2-0'd you. Are you ready to blast them when it comes time to beat them again? What's it going to take for TSM to be #1 yet again?
Well, we've been working on our issues. I think we've been improving with every week. Our opponents are pretty strong as well. Everyone's improving, but we're just trying to improve at a faster rate so that we can catch up. And I think C9 is definitely looking like the strongest competition right now. We haven't played FlyQuest yet, and they seem pretty good too. So it'll be interesting to see how the next couple of weeks pan out.
So 2-0 on both of them, though?
Hopefully. I mean, actually, it would probably be 2-1 since we always end up losing the first game. But yeah.
All right, 2-1 the whole way through. 3-1 in the finals. Congratulations on the win. See you next week. Throw it up to the analysts.